everybody. I also have to thank a very important persons, group, individuals, I don't know, whatever collective term is the appropriate one to use. People. I have to thank Eldritch Osiris Games for sponsoring this episode. Not just this episode, but also a giveaway, y'all. We have a giveaway tonight. So,
yay!
Everyone's waving their hands instead of clapping. Your ears thank us. Okay. So
chaos.
Absolute chaos. Let's tell you guys a little bit about what we're giving away tonight. Eldritch Osiris' I think their most recent release on Pathfinder Infinite is Spiked Danger. In Spiked Danger, the party finds a request to take down a manticore from the village blacksmith. The gold reward is enough, but also on offer are the designs for a weapon of some power, the Spike Launcher. This adventure is for 4th level adventurers, which will give them access to the Spike Launcher Beast Gun and provides a perfect opportunity for some interesting combat. What I like about this is you can fit this little one-shot adventure into your campaign wherever you see fit as a nice, cool way to introduce your party to some new loot and some new gear. So that's super, super cool. So we're going to be giving away a PDF of that tonight, so please stay tuned. I think we'll do that around break time, like we are wont to do.
So Syrup, is this you saying that you're going to introduce that into the game today? Is this what you're saying? Is this what you're saying? Are you telling? Is this what you're saying?
No.
Great. Whatever Kitsune summoner needs to take out a village of Myconids.
I mean, 'tis the season.
How sad is that, though, now that I'm just like, no, that was not actually my intent.
No.
So I'm just going to rewrite. We'll see what I am able to rewrite into this story in the next little bit as we hit our intro video. We'll see what comes.
Let's fucking play a game.
Let's play a game, y'all. So
do a fucking show.
You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? I think that's the bell.
Is that the bell, though?
I think that's the bell. Let's hit that intro video, y'all, and we'll see you guys in class.
Penis farts.
School!
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Hi.
It's school! It's school time!
It's the bell.
No, it was a fake countdown.
Fake bell.
Just gonna act normal. Hey! Fancy meeting
Didn't see you there.
Didn't see you there yet. Okay. Oh god, guys. I'm trying.
can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Fancy seeing y'all in our stream.
Come
Who
here often?
turned this thing on?
Every 2 weeks?
What's happening?
Nobody knows.
We're stalling.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, that's right.
stalling.
We're just stalling. We're just
With
stalling.
confidence. We're stalling with confidence.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
That's the new falling with style. Stalling with confidence.
Stalling with confidence.
So.
So,
We had some fun last week, didn't we? Last session. 2 weeks ago.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I also
we
had fun last week too. So yeah.
some interesting revelations about our characters, and we started we dipped our toe into a new downtime system. It was interesting. I think it went really well.
Really well.
Yeah, I think so. I think we learned some interesting things about Airfay, nothing concerning of any kind.
I disagree.
No, the house isn't on fire. It's fine.
Yeah, this is fine. GIF here. And we had some interesting revelations about Tal, or potential revelations. Who knows? It might have been completely fake. It might have been just a random book that was picked. Nobody knows. And everything was fine and not concerning at all on the Overnosa front. I think we did great.
Nope.
So
Feels great. Feels great.
on that note, and Ark was very, very busy studying. He was cramming for catching up on some studies and things like that.
Sure.
because he failed.
Well,
Ark doesn't fail. That's what we've learned.
well.
But he did get hit. Yeah.
That's true. He did take damage.
He finally took damage.
About fucking time.
So this session, that was our week one. That was our nice introduction to week one of downtime. But I like to have 2 weeks of downtime in a stint. So we're gonna keep on rolling with that. And I want to start us off with taking a look at Ark again. Ark, who is so focused and busy on studying. And Ark, you're focused on this, and also I believe you were tasked by Teacher Ott to make something more concrete, not to make it active, make it something that you are able to show Teacher Ott and teach others. So what is Ark thinking after that lovely conversation with Teacher Ott?
They are thinking that they honestly just need to learn the books better so they can catch up in intellect with everyone, and it's kind of disregarding what Teacher Ott is saying about make it more active in something you can teach someone and such.
So after the week of kind of cramming and really just focusing on that studying, it's still nagging to you that there is technically a direct assignment, if you will, from Teacher Ott that is being requested of you. But you don't want to do it because you think it's a waste of time. But there's still... He's technically a teacher at the school and technically asked something of you.
Yeah, I can't not do it.
So what are you thinking?
I think he's gonna he's already talked to Teacher Ott about it once. It came up in a past conversation, just in passing. So I think he's going to begin to try to put together the fundamental building blocks of his little training program kind of thing he wants to do.
Absolutely. And you feel, after having talked to Teacher Ott about it, even in the past, that this will technically fill the assignment. It's practical application of what you're looking to teach, and you were, at the time you were looking to do this, I believe you had asked Anchor Root for any interest in learning to be more physically assertive, to be for lack of a better term, less weak, right?
Yep.
And that didn't go too well for you.
Nah, it did not.
But now it's the time to still put this into action. Now's the time to maybe put together a sparring club. How does Art go about it?
Art probably... like, I feel like it would be almost like a vignette. You would like see him attempting to like think about bringing it up. Like if this were a show, like you could hear the inner thoughts of like, oh, I'll tell this person in this conversation, and then never gets a chance to, and then everybody walks away. And then that happens again, and then that happens again. And eventually he just like decides to put up like 4 or 5. He's never done anything like this before. So he puts up like 4 or 5, like, you could call them flyers, but they're not even that. They're like little pieces of paper with just handwritten words on them that say, it says like training at center field at 4 a.m. or something, you know, like.
4
basically,
a.m.
like, rip out
man.
pieces of notebook paper that have the details on there.
Lost dog, please.
And the thing is, right, maybe this isn't something that comes to Ark's mind, but something that I wanted to note from the perspective of one of your favorite cameramen. Pick one. I know you have many.
Brad.
Brad, okay. So you have, for the past week plus, holed away in your room studying, not attempting to socialize, not attempting to interact with anybody when people have asked you, you know, hey, where have you been? When Tal has come by with like food.
Yeah.
You've majorly ignored almost everybody that has come to your door.
Yeah.
Head down, focused, notes, that's all that matters. And to turn around and suddenly just say, like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, not really having any social connections to pull on at that point in time.
Well, this thing wasn't the flavor of the week last week, so.
Wasn't the hyper focus of the week.
Yeah.
So you do. You put up those notes. And you wait. And you go to the field. I think we have this up on the map real quick. There are the sparring fields by the Leshy Gardens where previously the tournament by Mafika Ayuwari was held. And what did you write on the piece of paper? The fields?
The center fields.
Center fields, great. And so you wait in the sparring fields.
Yep.
Perfect.
And like, he would probably wait for a total of 5 minutes past 4 a.m. or whatever he thought was gonna be it, and then he would just start training.
Perfect.
Like by himself.
Okay, great. 4 a.m. You're in the fields. Still dark. The sky beginning to lighten. No one shows up in those 5 minutes. And you begin to train. You begin to train with your staff. I almost said stick. No, your staff.
It's because I call it a stick. It's basically this really long branch just kind of carved into, like, it doesn't have like the head of a magic staff or anything. It's just this really large walking stick.
Like a bow staff
really large
almost, but
basically,
less
Yes.
trimmed, smooth, carved.
And perhaps for those that are viewers that watched the lovely flashback of the scene where Ark's mentor, teacher, was out there doing their morning routine on the cliff's edge. Those movements are mirrored in Ark as he stands alone on the sparring fields, going through the motions. Tell.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Wait, I see you start.
Nothing.
It is probably around 6 a.m. where you wake up early, and I don't know how like common is it? Do you usually sleep in, or do you usually wake up early?
I don't think Tau, unless they're ill, I don't think they usually sleep in very late. And if this is contradictory to what I said before, this is canon now. They don't sleep in late anymore. They're busy. They got shit to do.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, so, circus.
They've been
life,
trying to get.
past
They've been trying to
life.
get. Yeah.
Waking up early is part of it.
Yeah,
setting up
because you have
ahead
to
of time,
leave.
like
you have to get out of
getting out
in
of the
and
place,
out,
setting
and,
up
yeah.
in the morning. All of that needs to be done prior to when the general populace wakes up, because that's money making hours.
Yeah.
So it's probably habit.
Oh yeah.
Simple enough. 6 a.m. you're up, and you go to hit the dining hall early.
Mm-hmm. My plan is, my plan is grab some breakfast, grab some extra snacks for me and for Nim, and to go and sit and read a whole lot of books. That's the plan. I'm tired of reading, but I gotta do it.
So you do. You get up, start heading out. Do me a favor, make me a perception check.
Rolling, roll. 21.
Nice.
Okay. I love when I can trust on the dice. Thank you, dice.
It rarely happens, but it can happen.
Syrup's inner monologue. What if she rolls a 1? What if she rolls a 1?
Oh, she rolls a 1. And,
I guess,
and sparring
I
club
guess
was
it's
never to be.
And it was never going to happen.
So you go to head out of the Spire dormitories, and you make your way out, like, past the little common room area where there is that board where previously the tournament was listed. And something catches your eye. And it's this small handwritten note. It's not even marker on paper so that it's like noticeable. It's pencil. It's like you can barely read it.
Very hard charcoal, so it's not even like the dark charcoal even.
Yeah, it's barely anything.
But it's neat as heck.
Yeah.
And
It's a legible neatness that I recognize.
you do recognize it, and it draws your attention enough that you go and pluck it to read it a little bit closer. You see what it says. What is your first impression of this?
I look over to Nim, who's on my shoulder, and I say, that's really early. It's really early.
You look at kind of like where the sun is, and you look kind of like down the hall, and they're likely still there.
Do you think that Ark is still out there? Just still like leaning out the door, talking to Nim.
Yeah. Nim just kind of like makes a little like chittering.
You've been out there this whole time?
Squeaks.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the mess hall. I'm gonna get some food. I'm gonna get food for a very small picnic. And I'm going to bring it out to where I think Ark might be. So
Yeah.
Because if you've been there since 4 fucking a.m., you sure as hell are gonna eat something.
And the field, the center field. But there's the little like place in the middle where you had that picnic originally, but that's not a field. There's only one field that you know of. So I'm very curious, where do you head out first? Do you head to the sparring fields first, or do you head to the center of the Magaambya first?
So I'm headed to the dining hall first.
After the dining hall.
Okay.
This is how you interpret.
Well, that's true. I wouldn't go through the middle. To the field, you say.
Mm-hmm. The center field.
Okay, so Tao, at first, is thinking, well, center means the middle, but that's not a field.
The biggest conundrum that will be here this session.
Yeah. So, well, because they're trying to decipher what in the world this hand-scrawled note could possibly mean. If the center of the school is not a field, then where could it be? Is Ark standing in the center of a field? So that's what they're going to base it off of. That's what Tao's basing it off of. Is like, okay, maybe Ark was meaning there's a field and we should meet in the center of it, and is going to go try to find the largest actual field that doesn't have a giant gazebo in the middle of it.
That's the word I was forgetting earlier. Gazebo. Perfect. Okay. Great. So you
A
head
pergola.
Pergola. You head to the sparring field. Now, as you pass through, like, close the path by the Spire dormitory, through the Leshy Gardens, you come upon the sparring field. At this point, it is day. The sun is up. It is not a rainy day for once, though you can see that the ground is still slick. And at first you're like, there's nobody here. And it's not, like, it takes you a second before you see, like, Ark in the middle of this field. Swoop down low, going through the motions, absolutely drenched and sweating. Ark entirely oblivious, unless you want to roll a perception check, Ark. Unless you're absorbed, you tell me.
Yeah, I'll roll a perception check. I'll probably fail, but I'll roll it. Five.
Like I said, completely oblivious.
Good.
And the first thing that hits you, Tal, is that note said 4 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This individual has been at this.
Then I am a little bit annoyed. I'm a little bit upset.
Take it away.
They're not mad. They're just a little bit frustrated.
Not mad, I'm disappointed.
Not even disappointed. I'm just like, Tal thinks that they should take better care of themselves. According to Tal. Of course. But, they, would walk towards where Ark is and kind of leave, like, space, and is just gonna, like, maybe, let's think distance, maybe, like, 10 to 12 feet. Will just, like, sit down, cross their legs, and, like, start, laying out this, like just a small, like, cloth, and start putting out, like, some of the food that they had gotten, and just sit there and watch and hope that the smell of some food or some kind of, like, disturbance in the surrounding is gonna be enough to make them notice.
Absolutely. And even with that 5 Ark, like, it might take you a annoying amount of time, but eventually you turn around and eventually you realize there is a figure sitting there eating and watching you.
Yeah. Probably about, like, 7 to 8 minutes pass of Ark training, and then eventually they turn around and they see you. They stop a moment, like, kind of freeze up, look at the food, look at you, walks over very slowly and says,
"Brought you breakfast."
"Oh, is that for me?"
I had to kind of guess because they didn't have everything that you seem to like, but yes.
"Sure." He looks down again and begins to sit down, and what was going through his mind until he said it was him was, "Why would you pick here to eat? I'm clearly training." But then he sits down and says, "Thank you for the food. and begins to pick through until he finds something that he feels like eating.
Tal will take out the note that they had put in a pocket and would like unfold it and hold it up and say, have you been out here since... Have you been out here this long?
He glances up to the sky for a second, like, just registering the time. Yes, I think it has been since then.
Oh. All by yourself?
Yes, it seems nobody else could make it today.
Turn the sheet back over, just making sure I read the time right. Well, maybe it was a little early for most people around here. And we'll fold it back up and put it in their pocket.
And Tal, you saw the notes that were on that board. It was fate, as you know, is a thing for you, that you even caught that it caught your eye. And the average person would not have seen that. Like, it was tucked under another note. Like, it was literally put there under something else. The intent, yes, the time, absurd. But you also know it's more than that. This how the heck is anybody supposed to know about this?
You think it was too early?
Well, maybe. Is this something that you want? Do you want a lot of people to be here? Would you rather there be more people here? What? I'll take the note back out again, like really hurriedly. What do you want to do with this?
I want that if other people want to be here, that they can.
What do we do?
Train, get stronger, be less weak, more assertive. It seems a lot of this school has been combative, or needing to think on your feet at the very least. The race, the mushroom.
Well, I think if you want more people to come, or at least know that it's going to be happening, even if it is at 4 a.m., maybe we should make it so it's easier to see. And it's also like post-it size piece of paper. Maybe we make it a little bit bigger. So then people can see and they can choose if they want. Because it got a little buried.
You don't think people saw that?
I barely saw it.
He kind of like nods to himself a little bit.
Ark, at this point, what is going through Ark's head? Is there at this point, through everything that's been explained to Ark, a understanding that they did something wrong? That perhaps it's not just somebody not showing up or something like that.
They're kind of bouncing back and forth between it. Like, clearly they did something where it's like such a hard thing to explain, but in their brain they didn't do anything wrong. They put a note up on where people see notes. It was written neatly, people could read it. But all of that said, clearly Tal thinks that they did something wrong. So in that respect, like, he understands where Tal's coming from and is attempting to like figure out what could possibly be done better. Like wrong doesn't necessarily mean not better, if that makes sense. Like, you can do it better without doing it wrong.
It's not that you made a mistake, it's just that there's opportunity for improvement here.
Yeah.
And I think it's clear enough that you're picking that up, Tal. Like, They're not being like, you looked at this and you're like, common knowledge, like the amount, like your brother put so much effort into the posters y'all would put up.
My brother is a fucking artist, though.
Yeah, but like it was enough to pick up like basic kind of like graphic design, like
like something needs to be like who, what, where, when, and also probably maybe a little bit bigger.
And as you kind of recognize this, I will go ahead. Sorry. I will let you all continue.
Well, how about something like this? And Tal's gonna pull out, because they had packed to go and do other things. So they had some books and some notebooks and some paper and all that sort of stuff. They're gonna pull out one of their books and some sort of like writing utensil, like a pencil or something, and it's gonna start. They're not like an artist like their brother, but they can at least like draw some lines on something, and is gonna sketch a very crude idea of like what, based solely on the things that you said, which is people to gather together to train and get stronger. That's all that they have to go off of.
Yeah. And we'll say, like, through the small talk of the conversation, that it probably didn't come up in roleplay, like, Art thinks that their fighting style is beneficial to everyone, if not the best, and wants to, like, teach people how to fight both defensively and, like, mix magic and martial together, like, fluently.
At some point, they would look up and they would say, "Can you stand over there with your staff?"
You say that, like, you look up from drawing, and Ark is, like, on his knees, like, peering over the notebook to try to, like, watch you.
You can
to see how it's done.
Yeah, you see, basically what is a very crudely, like, gilded frame exterior, quote unquote, looks like a picture frame almost, and then a hill, and there's like a little a crude stick figure placeholder for where eventually potentially something that looks like either yourself or you as like a reference would be holding up some kind of something. Sure. And there aren't any words on it yet. There's just kind of like literally scribbles where the words would be.
You want me
and
to
I would
stand up?
Well, you don't have to. I was going to. I'll point to like the stick figure. I was going to, draw you or something in there, maybe. It doesn't have. This is just one idea that I was thinking. But then maybe, I don't know. Maybe something closer to this might get people to notice this more. I think if people notice it, then maybe they'll want to come more.
He like gives like a slightly emphatic nod and says, "We should try it," and like gets to his feet and takes a couple steps back.
Poses.
Sketch as best as I can.
So you do, and after a little bit, of the pose, and you get your sketch in, and you feel like it's at a good spot. You start filling in some of the details, and Ark kind of can come back over as you.
Yeah, I start asking like specific questions about like what do you want? What sort of things do you want? Like activities or anything like that, trying to brainstorm ideas as to like what this whole thing could be.
Together you find a schedule, like twice a week, 3 times a week training, varying like hours of the day for availability. You brainstorm something that might actually work for what counts for curriculum in this Magaambya University, knowing as how freeform it is. There's the early risers, there's between classes, and you start establishing what seems to be a good idea, and you put it in the poster, and you even make some variations of the posters, and as you go to about discussing the purpose of the club and trying to find the most concise way to explain it, I want to zoom in again. Ark. This is something that you believe very strongly. This is something that bothered you about Anchor Root. And something that passion might showcase itself in this explanation as you guys are sitting there with food around you, actually perhaps getting a little bit more comfortable, you coming down from your training, getting your breath back after all of this time, and you start discussing and just talking about why this is so important to you. And I want to take a look at a little bit about what that entails.
Okay, so like why this is so important to Art?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's just talking to Tal, and like in between a couple of bites while Tal's probably still drawing or something, he goes,
I think Tal's actually doing some calisthenic and like cartwheels and like acrobatic stuff at this point.
yeah. And he just kind of starts, like, he's just like walking around in the mud and kind of starts talking and says, I don't see many people mix their magic and martial quite like I do. I think I was taught somewhere else by someone else that many won't have a chance to meet, and I want to share that with those that need help defending themselves, or and like he like stops for a moment and then goes, almost like it's a recognition in his brain, or like it's something he wouldn't normally say, but he goes, like Anchor Root can't even go out and get their own mushrooms or bones or something.
I think Tal was like maybe mid-handstand when you started talking and didn't want to disrupt your flow of conversation, but will like come back down on their feet, and like wipe their hands off. I think you're right. I haven't seen anyone do the kind of magic and fighting that you can do, and I was, okay, I was going to ask you about that because it is something that I realized that I am lacking in.
Can you also make me an acrobatics check just in the background?
Me?
Yes.
23.
He kind of nods a moment, and it might be, but maybe I misspoke slightly. I want to share he's like, you see that he's having a hard time getting across the words that he's like trying to say, and he goes, I want to share the fact that I think everyone has a best way to fight for them.
And as you say that, and you kind of look over, and the acrobatic check being what's been transpiring, like after you turned away from the drawings and Tal started to just enjoy basically being on like an empty field and moving about and doing these acrobatics. They're dexterous. They're talented. They're moving in ways that you would struggle to do. And it does stand out for you. So when you say that, when you say everybody has their own way, you're kind of struck by like your brain going onto everything you've learned about natural defenses and this, that, and the other, and maximizing your potential, and you see an example right here in front of you. If Tal cartwheeled like that and spun this way, they could probably work and practice on doing this. Your brain's kind of going there.
Yeah.
And you realize this is an example.
Mm-hmm. And he just kind of echoes that, and like upon the realization and seeing, kind of says, as your movements probably from the, I don't know if you've told us, so out of character, you told us like you were part of a circus, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it was like right before like the marketplace thing.
Right.
I think
your movements having come from the circus and all, I think that each person and their background can bring something special to their own fighting. And you see, there's like, actually make me a perception check real quick.
Yes.
me make 14.
Okay, you see the slightest hint of a tone shift, but you can't really tell like why or what.
No.
But he basically says, it's not really something I had to develop my own, and I think it's important.
Oh, do you maybe have any advice? Because I've only ever used all of that for show. I've never had to think about using it in fighting in any way.
He gives like a super slight smile and says like, yes, I think I can help a little. And then I imagine they like kind of start training.
Yep. So after
First club member.
First club member achievement pops up on the screen.
Ba-da-da-da!
Cult member acquired.
Achievement
Wait, hold on.
unlocked. First member.
And in that, I'm just curious. Ark starting to kind of give some tidbits one-on-one with Tal. Tal, do you show Ark some acrobatics as well? And Ark, are you curious to learn any of that?
I mean, Ark's always down to kind of like attempt to the common concept that we're probably running into here, at least at the very beginning, is that you see that Ark is attempting to mimic.
Mhm.
So like if you're doing a cartwheel, he like does it the same way or something.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Tal would definitely, I think Tal would notice that, mostly because they would notice how stiff you look and how you're gonna hurt yourself, because they know how much you have to stretch beforehand. They know like what your body should be doing when you're like in the midst of a cartwheel, more than just perpetual motion.
Yep.
So I think that they would definitely like, they would see that and then, say, maybe we should do this and explain like why certain stretches are important, etc., and then do it again after.
Becomes this sort of like transfer of knowledge back and forth, and it's actually kind of nice to see, because maybe Tal, when you went into this, when you were making these posters and you were thinking about what this sparring club, as it is named, it was an opportunity. And I want to take a moment to look in at Tal now. When it started off, it was maybe a way for you to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about where Tal was before this moment. This frustration and this want to learn when you approached and said, "Hey, can you teach me?"
Mm-hmm.
Where is this frustration in themselves coming from?
Ever since, almost from like as soon as they got onto campus, not literally, but like very shortly after they got onto campus, they have come up many times needing help, needing to rely on people in multiple ways, whether it is literally like a life or death situation, or people coming to their aid because they think that, and most of the time rightly so, Tal needed help, or Tal was in danger, or not that Tal couldn't fend for themselves, but you know, wanted to be protected, and they're getting frustrated at always needing to be the one to be protected and saved, and not being strong enough or competent enough to save other people yet.
And that is where your brain was when you were helping Ark make these posters.
Mm-hmm.
And as the camera kind of circles out and away, and it's very impressive that one of the cameramen got a drone shot, as it circles up and away, and we see someone who doesn't know the situation's perspective, someone not in Tal's head. And what we see as the audience is an equal back and forth of teaching. It is not Ark drilling Tal in, you gotta do it this way and that way. And there's a flashback to when Tal was in the classroom after class, like in office hours with Teacher Ott, being frustrated at something and being told, oh, you have to do it this way, no, you have to do it this way, no, you have to do it this way. Here, in the early morning, as the rest of the students wake up and start going about their day-to-day, there is a moment of equivalent exchange of teaching Ark why it's important to stretch, because you could hurt yourself because of all of these things, and realizing that the knowledge that you've had from your upbringing is actually relevant to the protection of yourself. And you decide how much of that Tal realizes right now, but that's what we see as we zoom up and away from this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Club.
At this point, after this, I think, by the way, you guys are at this for a long time, and it's honestly, Ark, like, you're gonna be tired for the rest of the day, because you did 2 hours and then also all of this.
Yeah.
And with the 16 acrobatics Ark, by the way, like, you're doing your best. It's not bad. You're picking it up pretty, you need practice, but it's not bad.
The dice tell the story. I'm as athletic as them. I just roll worse.
And after this, as y'all pick up your things and head off, Tal, you finish making the posters, splitting them up between you and Ark, and you start putting them up around the campus in the dining hall. And you discuss, where are the good places to grab people? Let's put them in the bulletin boards outside of the classrooms. Let's put them in the let's put one in the Heron Archives. Let's put one in the library. Let's put one in the bulletin board of the dormitory. Let's make sure that the word gets out. And you do so.
Ark still puts them in slightly suboptimal places. Like if he's putting them on the bulletin board, he puts it in the corner so he doesn't cover up anyone else's paper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, and whoever wants to lead the charge, and one can aid the other, let's make a diplomacy roll to see how this message gets sent out.
Do I have to aid?
I would love
You
to
don't.
lead.
But we will say in this case,
Can I, instead of Ark aiding in the diplomacy aspect, perhaps they could aid in a different way?
talk to me. I'm always down.
Only makes sense that I aid in diplomacy.
Okay. Okay.
So
I don't see much else that could help here except maybe society.
no, that's fine.
I was looking through and I was like, well, I say that. Maybe, well,
Just go ahead and tell. Make the diplomacy check alone.
I'm gonna hero point mine
Uh-huh.
because it was bad. It's the same.
Ooh.
It's the same. It's a 9.
It's just a natural
It's
2.
the same.
That's all. Hey, I rolled a natural 2 too.
You also rolled a natural 2 for a 0.
Jesus Christ.
But you weren't gonna roll, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Listen, we're tired.
Tired. And this is like the rest of the day and like the following day as you guys put these up. So
Can I? Just funny thought in my head. We're the freshmen on the basketball team that are talking to the seniors like, "Come on, come practice. You need to get better." Like,
Yes.
yeah.
We're saying good
So
words, but
true.
to the absolutely wrong people.
Yeah.
I'm your upperclassman.
And
I'm a
I'm
teacher.
a varsity letter. Right.
And you split it up this way, right? And I'll say because of this 9, you all put them separately. Like you guys split up and like go put them around campus. And so like Talik, you don't realize like that Ark's even doing this like quote unquote wrong. Like he's like making sure to not cover anybody else's up, and so puts his behind others basically, and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not
and
wrong,
so you don't-
suboptimally.
suboptimally, yes.
You don't realize the goat following you eating each piece of paper as you put it up on the wall.
But as you return to the Spire dormitory,
It's actually
you
over Noza.
see- you return to the Spire dormitory and you see like the one of the times that like Ark put up one of like your best posters, but like very much covered in like 2 places that it's really hard to see. You can take that and like fix it so that it's like front and center on top of everything else. So that's the one that you fixed. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And also, the colors of these posters, no one else would know it except for Tal, are the same colors as the wagons in their circus.
Oh.
Nice touch.
What are those colors on the spot? Let's go.
On the spot, probably like a teal magenta, like a salmon.
I was literally gonna
Orange.
say midget salmon.
Yeah. Those like
Don't call
kind
me
of
out like
jewel
this,
tone, those jewel tone, bright, like the deep crimson red, like very colorful.
Perfect. And what you don't see outside of the Heron archives, one Mafika Ayuwari strolling out of the archives, kind of late afternoon, maybe off to lunch. And he like goes to steps outside the archives, and he pauses and he like scrunches up his face for a second and looks back, and he goes back inside and looks past the bulletin board, looks it over, pulls out the one that was kind of just tucked behind something. Huh. Folds it, puts it in his pocket, and continues walking. Now, how you doing, Aerith?
I'm doing good. We're laughing because in the background we heard he picks up a poster here. Oh God! From someone's background.
That was mine.
Perfect, and I loved it.
I was like, what is happening? Did I hear that?
I shouldn't have looked at Duval because that's when I kind of lost it. I was like, that was the only one.
I missed that. That's great.
I loved it. It was perfect.
So, Aerith, you've had a week of deep research and a connection built with what we'll call your shadow. And you've gotten to at least a point of comfortability, and I think over the time of that week, you've kind of reached a certain point of comfortability. You recognize what it takes for them to disappear when you push too hard. You recognize what information they're willing to give you, and it sort of ends there, at least for now. And so your thoughts turn to other things. By the way, throughout this week, y'all, and this is for everybody, one of the days you do recognize that the corpses of the silverfish have been removed.
Wonderful.
And that spurs the official cleaning up. Thank you, by the way, Mariama, for actually doing something about this.
See, if I had not listened, y'all, if I hadn't have taken Miriam into that that hideaway,
That place would have been reeking.
it would have been bad.
Those are removed. One of the multiple nights that Airfay is there, books continue to slowly be stacked. And it's like one of those things that are like, eventually it's sort of different enough than when it started. It spurs the sort of momentum. So between all of these other things that are happening, as you all go and every once in a while check in with this abandoned library, you all start cleaning it up, working together, organizing the books, cleaning out the old nests, and really just kind of going to town on this space.
I love how we got a clubhouse and immediately didn't take care of it.
Yes.
We got busy.
It's on brand.
But
Be
since
busy.
we're on the topic of making posters and the like, what do you all decide to name this clubhouse?
Well, so we didn't vote, did we?
We
Well,
did.
This is gonna be. I'm gonna pause to have one of the days that you all are actually having dinner together in the dining hall, and you're discussing like who's the first one to bring up like, okay, we actually need to clean this place.
Not Dark, because he hasn't really been there yet.
I would say maybe Airface, since she's been there
makes
a
sense to me.
lot. She's like,
Yep.
it stinks a little. We might want to do something, actually take care of it.
Oh man, I think I actually forgot that we didn't. They're just sitting there. That's oops.
I did too.
I mean, we've all been busy this week. We've all
Yeah.
been studying and doing things. I just been in there a couple times, and it could use some tending to.
Sure.
Cool.
We can
I'm down.
maybe bring some food for lunch, maybe tomorrow, and we can make it a day.
I think that's a
Sounds
grand
good.
idea.
And the following day for lunch, grabbing food out of the halls and heading towards the tree stump library.
Project day.
There is a
Project day.
project day. And you all work together, go through, clear these all out. And it gets to a certain point of like, oh, things are looking good here. And start discussing if you can grab like the one functional, like not so dusty study armchair that was used in the room where you found the cranes, and bring that out into the other space and say, okay, well, we can bring like, this, that, or the other thing. Y'all can purchase, some stuff from the stores or go into Natambu to do this on another day.
Shopping
No, but
episode.
you can
Oh, I have
make
it up. I have
plans for a shopping
Shopping.
episode, absolutely.
Let's go shopping.
But
Oh
as
my
you
God, let's
plan
go
for the
shopping.
space, as you plan for make use of the space and what you want in this space, and make plans for a shopping episode, tell me a little bit about how the name of this place comes to be.
I think Tal,
Well,
randomly in the middle of the day, is just gonna say, "We should name this place because it's not really a library because we don't really use it as a library."
True.
Let's call it the Clean Tree.
That's a bit on the nose, don't you think? Because what if like we end up using it a lot and then it gets messy because we use it a lot? Then it doesn't really make sense,
Then it's the less clean tree.
right?
It's a mouthful.
Then it's funny.
Yeah. Or ironic, I guess, perhaps. I'm sorry to turn the corner on this actually now. But I feel like I named the party, so like I should abstain.
You named the
We have a party name?
Oh, right. So
We're a party?
When's the
yeah,
party?
Having a
we
party?
go out and stuff. I mean, it's like it's a term with groups that like go off and do stuff.
The group.
What's our group name then?
I cast Bullhorn.
Oh gosh.
Do we all have that, by the way?
No, I don't.
Oh, Erife, get on that.
that.
Get on it.
And he just
Yeah,
goes.
I didn't choose wizard, okay?
And he
You
just
need
goes.
an intelligence set for wizard.
How many
I
times
do
did we
not have
interrupt
that.
Duval so he can't tell us the name of
I'm ready. I'm waiting.
That's fine.
Please do.
That's really funny.
No, but I need to know.
Fusion that happened on all of our faces when you're like, our party name, we're like, what?
And he just like, and really loudly in the middle of the tree, we are the future.
And with the bullhorn and also the loudness of like Hideaki's kind of like announcing it in this rather small space, it does reverb a little uncomfortably for you.
My
Art.
ears,
yeah,
my
Art-
ears
Art-
also go back, and like kind of like, like
I should have stepped outside. I'm sorry.
Once Art saw
Immediately
like
looks at Ark.
the components of the spell being cast, he pulled his hands up to his ears, so like it didn't bother him that much. It's like he knew it was coming because he has the spell, so he was just ready.
But the future.
The future.
What's everyone's reaction?
So then we should name this place the Sprout.
I kind of like that. It's like an investment.
Oh. I like that.
Or
I do
Seeds
too.
of Knowledge.
Well, I was thinking that in the future, Sprout turns into a tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
R2, that might be my favorite thing you've ever said.
Thank you.
I agree. That sounds grand. I
And,
like that.
The Sprout.
and he says to Oranoza, I can't believe that worked. What?
You just have to say it loudly with confidence.
burst two party members'
don't
eardrums.
Or Hideaki that ever.
The Sprout. Okay. So y'all
Spoiler,
are
spoiler,
Instantly
audience.
changing.
We did not. We voted on something completely different.
I love it.
I love it so much.
It's so good now.
Enjoying have
So
the map
us.
up, and I'm just enjoying seeing the name change on there. This conversation.
So
Incredible.
I
the
love
Sprout, the Sprout House, the Sprout Clubhouse, the Sprout
The
Club,
Sprout House.
Sprout House.
it. I like Sprout House.
I love
The
it
Sprout
so
House.
much.
Excellent.
Can we
The
add
Sprout
that to
House
our
it is.
tattoo, guys? Okay.
House.
And so, throughout this period of downtime, one of the other momentous events is the official dubbing and naming of the Sprout House, the cool kids' new clubhouse, and plans
No
are made.
girls allowed.
And Erife just frowns.
I walk out.
Oh, bye, guys.
Okay. See ya. Just remember, it's a tree. I'll find some flint and
and-
mortar here.
Plans are made and a inventory list is kind of put together of needs as in the near future you all make plans to hit at the Tambu and get this place outfitted because might as well invest some of that extra fun allowance, whatever this Magaambya gives you.
You could say we gotta get it Sprout fitted. Let's go.
Recognize the pun game.
Recognize the pun game and then
I'm so glad I was half listening.
Okay, All right, with that squared away, I just had to shoehorn that in there. I apologize.
No, that was
that's
perfect. We got the sprout house out of it.
Dude.
We are the future. Welcome to
Are
the
y'all
sprout
okay?
house.
Are you all actually the future? I need to know for reasons.
Planting the seeds
Yeah.
for a better tomorrow.
Great.
One day we'll be.
I
one,
guess.
one day the sprout house will be a tree house, but right now we're not the future. So
Okay, great.
We aren't the future. We are the moment.
yeah, we just keep developing our name all meta. Like we're like right now we are the present. One day we'll be the future.
But
Yep.
for now, we are the
For our,
past.
for our
Will that
future
moment ever
Grammy
come?
nominated performances.
Y'all
Yeah.
are just past, present, future. Like that's the full name
Yep.
of the
The
group.
present,
I mean-
future, past.
Past, present, future, past. So, Erife,
Yes.
one of these days afterwards, you think back to the moment where once again Ark puts his hands over his ears. And this is not the first time you've denoted that. And it kind of strikes something. You're like, huh. A thought. And so I will say that at first, you will go and research a little bit. Kind of sprout this idea, if you will.
Okay, great. Okay.
Plant the seed.
Plant
the seed,
yes.
let it grow.
Yes.
You know, I've never had regrets before in my entire life at 30. Boy.
So talk to me a little bit about what research you're doing right now. I like you're looking to see if something exists, right? What are you looking for? Go ahead.
Specifically, I'm looking for like sound manipulation.
Sound manipulation. Okay. So go ahead and make me an let's see. What do you want to do? Like, are you doing magical sound stuff in particular? Are you focusing on the magical?
Yes, yeah. She's specifically looking at doing it during combat, so she would be looking at magic to do it instantly.
Okay. So for some library research, go ahead and make me a arcana check.
Okay, it's the one intelligence things I'm actually kind of good at.
Yeah, let's
It's
go.
not very
Magic.
smart, dude. Oh, 23.
23. Okay.
She's charisma as fuck.
Charisma as fuck, but not very smart. But that's okay.
So I actually
I have
really
smart
like
friends.
You go into the library and you start researching. One sec. There it is. Okay. So you go and you start researching and you start taking a look at spells that exist with. You identify a couple things. So on a meta level, on a Pathfinder2e rules level, you denote some commonality between a couple of spells that you have managed to kind of pull off the shelves, or at least, even if it's not the spell itself, it's like discussions about it, like wizard tomes, like things like that. You just kind of get this information. Basically, there are spells that have a auditory component. So in terms of Pathfinder2e, these are spells that have the auditory tag on them. And some of those things that you can identify are things like bullhorn. Things that have potentially a little bit more magic imbued in them, more on the enchantment side of things. You hear about command, you hear about charming words, you hear about biting words, you hear these things that are affect a target. And these are all manipulations that require like auditory things to them, and you're like, no, this is kind of like off track though for what I'm looking for. And so you go for sound suppression and those types of things. And you find the spell Silence. And it's interesting because it discusses, silencing a creature, which means that they're not able to cast spells or use verbal components because they can't hear them. And they can't use, again, a little bit meta, actions with the auditory trait. So those spells that you were researching earlier are not available when in this sort of silence piece. But still, that's not what you're looking for. You're not trying to take away the ability to use verbal components, to use auditory components. You're looking for something else. And you're not finding it. And you've done a pretty good, days worth of research, and you talked to some of, the assistants at the library. You're pretty thorough about this. And you're not finding what you're looking for. What's the next thing? Does Arafe kind of say, okay, it doesn't exist?
I mean, so she's extremely disappointed because, kind of snaps back to when she's like, Teacher Ott told us if we looked at the library, we'd find more information. Thinking back to the last time he chastised us for not preparing.
Z-snap Teacher Ott over here.
Yeah. And then her thought process goes, Teacher Ott, maybe a teacher can help me. And so she's going to try and think of what teacher would be the best to talk to. So, I mean, she thinks about Teacher Lissetti, but because Lissetti's always in her mind, but she knows Lissetti's not there. She's generally not. And she thinks of, Ulawa and Zuma, but for some reason doesn't think those are quite what she's looking for. Mm-hmm. So she kind of goes for, well, maybe either Teacher Ayuwari or Teacher Ott are actually good places to start.
And what is Arafe looking for? Is she still on the track of finding this thing that she's looking for? Like that exists out in the world, basically? Is she kind of still on that track of well, I'm not finding it in the library, maybe they know about it?
I think for her, she would be on that track a little bit more of seeing if there's something that exists. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just because that's just where her thought process goes is, we're at school. There's tons of magic. There must be something I'm looking for.
Okay. So you said either Teacher Ayuwari or Teacher Ott.
Yep.
Who do you go to first?
I think she would go to Ott because while she holds Ayuwari in a very high regard, he scares her a little bit. He's very intimidating, whereas she feels a little bit more of a connection with Ott because he's a very gentle-spoken individual who tends to... It feels like they're more helpful than combative, even though she knows Ayuwari is not necessarily a, verbally combative person, but
just a pretty impressive individual at the very least, so it could be intimidating. It makes sense.
Even though Ayuwari is one of her teachers.
So you do that. You go so you've done a pretty thorough research, and again, this is over the course of this whole week. So whether it's the same day, whether it's the following day, either way, you end up in Teacher Ott's office. And it's after classes, so you can knock on the door, and he's like, "Oh yes, come in."
Morning, Professor. I hope I'm not bothering you.
No, not at all. What can I help you?
I'm hoping so. I've been trying to find magic to learn for a very specific purpose, and I'm having difficulties doing so. And I was wondering if maybe you could help.
I see. And you're looking for a particular spell? Is that it?
I'm not sure. I was hoping to. I've been doing a little bit of research because I'm trying to figure out how to cast a spell that will reduce noise. Not necessarily like I found silence, but that seems a little excessive. Really, I'm just trying to find a spell where I can bring something that's extremely noisy down to a more reasonable level. Do you know of anything?
Kind of leans back on his desk, which he was like writing something down. He puts his pen down and leans back. Remind me, Erfe, what is your branch of study?
Well, I'm looking more into the healing side of things, but I'm kind of finding that I'm doing more than just healing in my study. I'm trying to find more of, I think the term I've heard is support.
And
helping others instead of, things of that nature.
I see. But your focus branch at the Magaambya, is it
rain scribes.
The rain scribes, I see. Adaptability, then. Interesting. Makes me wonder, though, if perhaps you'd make a good cascade bearer. But let's put this to the test. You don't seem like the kind who just came here on a whim. I believe you've done your research. Would I be correct?
I've looked a little into it, and I found a few spells, but none of them seem right. Silence, like I said, seems the closest, but it's a little too difficult right now. But it's the closest I found.
You have entertained the vast knowledge available of the archives and come up without anything. So you've come to me to see if it exists?
Yes, or at least point me in the right direction to maybe someone who might. But you've always been very helpful.
And points to you. That's someone who can help, I believe. You see, what we do with the Cascade Bears is champion imagination. You seem to be envisioning something that you're not able to find. What do you say you work with me, a little extracurricular, and make it?
Make a spell? I can hardly do the ones I have.
I don't believe that. Come. If you're willing, let's put it to the test.
Okay.
Let's go.
Excellent. And so you spend a few days with Teacher On. And it's interesting because give me a little insight into what Erefe's expectations are to making a spell. What does she think it's gonna be like?
She is kind of assuming there's a lot of research that goes on, a lot of trial and error. That they are, I guess in her mind, she assumes what they're going to do is kind of because silence is as close as the magic is, they'd start there and kind of try and manipulate it backwards into something similar and simpler, but
that's wonderful. That's perfect. So that might be what Erefe goes into. So the next day when they make an appointment to go into Teacher Out's office and start working on this, and you're greeted by some textbooks and some notebooks with just more of basic runic pieces that you've learned, that you've started learning in some of the Cascade Bearer classes that you've taken. Really the fundamentals of magic. It's going into be I'm gonna be making a spell, and then it's magic 101, and you're like, the fuck.
What do you mean talking about gleaming into the weave? What are we talking about? This seems complicated. Where's Arc?
And so for the first bit of it, you are kind of tasked with more going through kind of like the core runic alphabet and building some fundamentals of what you're looking for. And cross-researching it really with, like, okay, I want this glyph. Like, this base glyph seems to be, like, a core component of the spell that I'm looking for. And like, when you finally come to that conclusion and you pick, like, 3 of those, Teacherot's like, great, now find me all the spells that you know that have that as a fundamental rune in them. And it's, like, it's kind of annoying, to be honest. And maybe one of the reasons why this isn't necessarily your go-to, like, this is definitely a hit the books type of thing at first.
Arafe is a street smart, not a book smart person. So this is kind of like watching the C student trying their hardest to get an A in a class and just not clicking quite as it could be. And you can see the struggle, but the determination.
and that's sort of what Teacher Ott is like watching for in these classes. And you've should, let's say Ark was there, he would notice this. Because he's been through this and he's been through some of the extra classes and stuff like that. And it's kind of like these, basically at the end of each session or at the end of each like thing that you go through, Teacher Ott then kind of brings you to the next level together. So he really does aid you in this. Like, he doesn't let you sit there and struggle and spin the wheels on nothing. He does do it to show you everything that it entails, but he holds your hand through it. And so when you identify those spells, he then, like, you pick like 2 and you're like, I don't know any others. And he points out a couple more for you and then discusses with you, like, how basically it's important to show that this rune can be split in these ways and things like that, and be like, so you have to really be careful about like what you pair them with and the intent of them. And he stops before going too far into it. He tries very hard to match like how much you zone out for it, basically. So he tries to give you and imbue you with the things that he can, and then he kind of just moves forward, but he helps you. So together you kind of build the foundations of this. And by the end of this, he helps you build a manner of spell. It is not complete, it is not ready to use. He says, these are the foundations, you have everything you need. And now you need to put it together with your intent to make it work. So, come back to me in a few days. Instead of enough the classroom, I can tell that it's taxing on you. You have everything you need. Go to the spaces in which you wish to work. Go and focus and put these together. Practice. Come back to me. If you find success, you can come sooner. But if you have not found success in 3 days' time, come back to me.
All right. Thank you for all of your help. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And with that, you separate and go to work. Perhaps going to the Sprout at night like you're used to and you're comfortable, and trying to do this. Perhaps going to the library and, you know, trying to be like, okay, well, maybe this isn't working. I'll try studying a little bit of this other stuff. Okay, no, that's never mind. Out in the middle of the field, try here. In the middle of the dormitory, let me try here. You try everywhere to see and put this together. And it's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Go ahead and make me an Arcana check.
Oh, God.
17.
17. You feel like you've made progress. You feel like your intent is there. You feel the connection of your intent to the magic. You know what you're asking it to do, and you know with confidence because of Teacher Ott that you have all the right components. And so a lot of this practice over these next couple days is you trying to make it come to fruition. And you get as far as recognizing that your intent is building the spell correctly, but there is no manifestation.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very frustrating thing for Arafe, because this is her struggle since she woke back up of, I know what I need to do. I know I can do it. Why isn't it happening?
And as that frustration kind of develops, you actually feel a regression in the progress that you've made. As you're like, I have everything I need, this isn't working. And you get frustrated, and that you're like, okay, at this point.
And if she's
happening.
alone, if I want to say, like, for this part, she's in the clubhouse at night. And as she's actually getting to this point, she's actually going to take a book and throw it against the wall as hard as she can and just scream. Because nobody's here to hear it.
Your shadow, however, is. And almost sort of like catches the book against the wall. And just kind of like puts it down on the ground. But it's like slides down the wall still. But it's this odd sort of like it's the shadow against the wall, like catching it nonetheless and dropping it. You're frustrated.
Obviously.
It's not working.
It never does. It's the same problem with everything. I know how to do it. I can feel how to do it, but it doesn't work.
Helpless right now, unfortunately. Helpless to help you, I mean. Though I see you doing all the right things. Don't know that spell, though. You
A new one.
Making it. New one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Attempting, apparently.
Why?
I think it's something we need. It's a way I can help a friend. No, unfortunately not. A different friend.
One of the group that you're with.
Yes.
This is always helping people, Hervé. Always. It's how I know this. You'll figure it out. You always do. Your heart's in the right place. You're helping somebody. That's always been your magic.
It's what I am good at, I feel like.
It's sweet that that's still so intrinsic in you. You've forgotten everything, but not that.
So I've always been like this.
Yes. Always.
That's good, at least.
So please stop throwing books. Just go back to the teacher and have him help you.
Probably a good idea. I just feel so stuck.
Well, maybe when you're stuck, you can come and ask for help. You don't have to do it alone.
I think I forget that a lot.
That's new.
I'm enjoying learning these little tidbits, to be honest.
I'd help you if I could. It's equally frustrating to not be able to help.
So there's something stopping you as well.
The shadow sort of like gestures to the fact of the shadow. The fact that I can even do anything is a testament to you. And the shadow sort of like makes a motion to kind of like kick the book on the ground, and the book kind of slides just a little bit like forward. That's you. That's your doing.
I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you come over here at some point. I found some books and things, and hopefully that will help.
The shadow slides off like the way shadows do when like a light suddenly shifts and shows up like closer next to you, like up on the bookcase. You will.
I hope to.
Arafe, please.
Are you in
Do what have to
danger?
do. I... Shadow disappears.
Damn it. I think at this point too, Arafe is comes to the realization that she doesn't know why she's not afraid of this shadow creature in any way. Like there's a weird thing of she has this feeling in her mind of like, you should be more cautious about this. Why aren't you?
Yeah, I think in that moment of like the shadow like very like scary, like horror movie-esque of like just suddenly like appearing way closer to you.
And the demeanor changing as quickly as it did.
Yeah, like that there's that natural instinct of like alarm. But it doesn't move past that like thought of this would normally be alarming. Because it's your shadow. It's your shadow. It's connected to you. And that's really like when you try to think about like why you're not scared or not as alarmed as you feel like you should be, like that's sort of where that thought gets stuck. Like they're your shadow. That's it.
Yep.
But so the following day you go back to Teacher Out. And you go up to the office door, and it's like an off day. It's like one of like a Saturday or something like that when he told you to come meet him in the office. And it's like the early morning, like 10 a.m., 9 a.m. or something like that. And you see him waiting for you in the office. But he's not like sitting behind his desk grading papers. He's dressed in his casual clothes, his walking stick, and a small little pack, and he's just like, wonderful. Are you ready?
Yes. Are we going somewhere?
We are. We're gonna go to Natambu.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I
And
like that he knows I'm gonna come.
Yep.
Oh man. No trust. I mean, he's not wrong, but no trust.
Well, you actually kind of... Do you want to make a quick perception check?
Sure. That's my perception. Where are the... Let's perception. Always in a different spot. Oh, that's a 9. I'm supposed to be good at that.
No, that's exactly what you think, that he was waiting for you. And you take it exactly like that. You take it as like, yeah, he didn't have any faith in me. But with that, he kind of gestures right back out the door that you came in, and together you head off across one of the many rivers of Natambu, of the Magaambya and Natambu, off to Natambu proper. And with that, we'll take our break.
Cool.
So, you get back into it. Teacher Ott leads you, Arafe, out of the Magaambya and to Natambu proper. In my little research and in wanting to give y'all a more accurate depiction of the city of Natambu, I've recognized that I didn't do it justice in my first description. And in this map that we see of the Magaambya, by the way, y'all, this little circular island, it's not on the water. It is risen above it. Okay, there's walls up, and so all along sort of this long walled circle, there are some stairs that lead down to the water in different areas and things like that. It is much higher than that, and with bridges that cross through to the rest of Natambu, and the rest of Natambu is also cut in circular patterns through canals of water, as it is nestled, kind of cut into one of the main rivers of the area in the Mwangi Expanse. It's really actually cool. So I'm gonna show this to y'all, and feel free to make it big and pretty to give you a little look into Natambu proper, as to how some of this is and some of what you walk through. I think it's pretty darn cool.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah, click on it, make it big and real pretty
It's so pretty.
Seriously, the art in this adventure path is amazing.
I have teared up a lot.
It's is it Venice that has the water with? Between cities?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of so much.
Yeah, it's very
Oh my
much
God,
kind of
that's
like
so
that, but
fucking
with
cool.
sections of land.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. So you cross one of the many bridges out of the Magaambya and into Natambu, and you walk through the colorful streets, and teacher Ott making small conversation and just absolutely casual. Oh, this is a very good bakery. We love just getting, they make very good bread, and I think this is where my wife gets my birthday cake. She won't tell me. It's a top secret, and I think I've narrowed it down to this bakery or one of the other ones, but it's a very good one. And keeps walking and just, small talk here and there, but never a hint of what's going on, unless you ask directly.
I think Arafe would walk with him for quite a while, just kind of expecting him to initiate it, because she doesn't want to be rude and be because he's telling her things, and she is noting these things, especially the "it might be here" or any of the other bakeries. That one, I think I've narrowed it down to this one or any of the others. But I guess eventually, she will try and move towards it. Say, this is all very interesting. I'm learning a lot about the city, but were we going to work on the spell?
Well, right here.
She says it so tentatively. She's I don't want to be rude.
Yeah. And he looks at you for a second as you start to do that, and then literally as you're about to finish that sentence, he's like, we're here. Just one moment. And kind of goes, and it's you kind of get to this little glass, it's a shop. There's a windowed display case of all sorts of really beautiful glassworks, handmade glass artistic things. It's just kind of a showcase of different talents. There's plates, there's utility stuff. There's also really gorgeous art stuff, and you see glass necklaces that are beads and stuff made. It's really pretty and very colorful and very gorgeous. And this is kind of in front of this shop. He stops, and he turns in, and he's like, "Come on," and opens the door.
She follows quickly behind.
As he enters, he kind of calls out, "Niana," and from behind one of you see this is the front part is a shop, but from the outside you saw that it was a bit of a double-storied building with what looked to be more like a house on top, or what could be a house, like a little terrace and stuff like that. And from the back room, a lovely woman steps out. She's like, Takula, you're back. Welcome home. And they kind of walk up to each other and give each other a quick kiss of welcome. And he like kind of sweeps her into a hug, like absolutely, like as if he has not seen her in like so long. And he's like, and let's go. And he's like,
the aww.
And he's like, my dear, I would like you to meet one of my students, Arafe. I would like to introduce you to Niana, my wife.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And she kind of smiles, and she's like, it's a pleasure to meet you too, dear. And she kind of looks over at like Teacher Ott, and she's like, Takulu, what are you, like, why are you bringing students here? And he's just like, just stopping by, dear. Do you happen to know the location of the markets today? And she's like, yes. And she kind of goes to the back and like rifles through some like mail, papers, things like that. And she finds this little like handwritten note, and she walks back and hands it off to him. And she's like, they're in this sector today, or something like that. Like, kind of just gives him a roundabout of where the markets are. And he's just like, I am, as always, forever in your debt. I'm so sorry to interrupt your work. I will see you later for dinner. And kind of like grabs the note, gives her a wink, and she just kind of sighs, like in a loving way, and is just like turns to you, and she's just like, I promise you, whatever he's up to, it'll be good for you.
I do trust him. He always seems to have the best thoughts for us, or the best plans to try and help us.
He has
Not always quite clear.
I think, between you and me, as like Teacher Ott's like off, like grabbing like something from like the side of the shop, between you and me, I think he gets a little too into this. He loves his little mysteries. It's how he has his fun.
Well, then I will try and make it entertaining.
Oh, but you did go all the way here. Hold on 1 second. Did you bring lunch? Did he did, and she kind of raises her voice. He did tell you you're going to be going on a day trip today, right? And Teacher Ott like looks a little bit like, oh.
Anime thing where
like,
they just stop moving.
Yeah. And he kind of, well, dear, I was hoping that perhaps you would be able to make some of your delicious sandwiches for us for lunch, so we didn't have to. I forgot. I'm so sorry. And she just like, without missing a beat, she's like, just take a look around the shop. Give me a second. And she goes off to the back, and what seems to be like, as she opens the door, you see like a set of stairs, and it looks to be like down here is the store, and it looks like they live above it or something like that. And she disappears for a little bit, and you have a second to take a look at all the cool little like things that are around this little shop. And Teacher Ott, like, looking a little abashed, but, like, still, like, like, whatever, with a little coy smile, is basically like, well, I don't know if you knew, but my wife is actually a incredibly talented glassmaker. She's made everything here in this shop. Her talent blows most individuals out of the water, I always say.
She is incredibly talented.
I always tell her that. She doesn't always realize it, but I think she has something very special. This is one of my favorite pieces, and he kind of goes over and shows this like cool insert thing here, and kind of just you occupy your time. If there's anything you wish to ask him, feel free. Otherwise, she can come right back down.
I guess at this point she's just kind of waiting to see where he's going to bring her. Mm-hmm. Because at this point she's like, do you have a plan?
And kind of looking at your face, and he's just kind of like, it's kind of funny. He grabs like one of these pieces of glasswork, and he's like, and this over here, and then he like realizes like he doesn't actually know what he grabbed. Like it's some like art piece, and he's like, He kind of like looks for like a tag or something and just kind of like puts it back down and turns to you, like realizing his attempts at like
Small talk or failing.
well, not just small talk, but like ignoring the elephant in the room really is not quite working as planned. And he kind of like finally turns to you and he's just like, my plan today is to show you what you're missing, the missing component.
That would
But
be
I should
helpful.
ask, tell me what were your trials like in putting this spell together?
It's an issue that I've run into quite a bit. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. The intent is there. I can feel the magic building. And then there's nothing. It just doesn't fire, for lack of a better word.
Of course.
It just gets stuck.
I think, Arafe, that you're very focused on this intent, and I think your intent is admirable. Your intent is to... I think you mentioned help a friend. Can you elaborate?
Well, I've kind of noticed I have a place in our group. I'm not the forefront. I'm not the damage dealer. I protect. That's my job. That's what I do. And with Tal and Hideaki, it's been very simple to figure out what to do for them. Tal is... They like to throw themselves into the fight despite the fact that, while they hit hard, they are not as sturdy. So I want to make sure I protect them in a way of taking some of that hit. Hideaki runs in full bore and has no problems getting struck and taking strikes and having over nose get hit. So to help him, I heal. With Ark, there's been nothing.
He does look a little concerned at how you talk about like how Hideaki operates. There's like a brief look of concern of like,
oh god.
That's his tactic?
Same. Same.
But, Ark is very tactful. Ark knows where to stand. He knows where to strike. And the last time we fought, I saw the one dent in his armor that seems to be sound. So if I can do something to help them there, I want to do that.
Are you looking to find a way to help Ark because you feel that's what you're supposed to be doing? Or are you looking to help Ark because you want to?
I think it's both.
If your
But-
intent is to help, let's put aside the why for a moment. And you can tell that he's not the happiest with that answer of both. This spell that you're trying to make, that we've put together so far, is the goal of the spell to help? Is that its purpose? Is it like, and he kind of like moves his hand in a way, and you see a sort of copy of his hand move out as he casts like a mage hand. Is it a helping hand? Is that the purpose of the spell?
And Airfade stops and thinks about it for a moment and goes, I am a shield. And that's what I intend to be. That's about it.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I'm gonna cut you off. I felt. Arafet, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this spell. What is the spell's intent?
Belle's intent is to help Ark.
He sort of nods as you hear the door open again and Niana comes out with like a little bag of, it's like this like a woven straw bag, almost like a beach bag kind of deal, with like packed with something, and hands it off to Teacher Ott, and she's like, you have some food there, some refreshments, although there's also a little bit of coin because I know you and you love those little pastries at the market, so you can enjoy those as well. But she kind of points to Arafe, like looking at Teacher Ott. You take care of her. Make sure she's fed, okay? Whatever shenanigans you're up to, don't let her go hungry.
Lady's not my babushka.
And she kind of like Teacher Ott like puts a hand to his chest. He's like, "Of course, dear. I do take care of these students on a daily basis." And she just kind of gives him this look of like, "I said what I said." And he's like, "Yes."
In the back of her mind, she's like, "Except for the day with the mushroom where you didn't help us out." She doesn't say it, but she thinks it.
And and again, she did say what she said. And she's like,
she hears it in the back of her mind in Hideaki's voice.
And he's like, well, let's be off, and takes you through. So you continue to travel through Natambu, and he kind of looks at where the moving market is, the same market that you had to hunt down so long ago at the beginning of your time here at the Magaambya. This time, though, with, when your wife is a glass artist that sells merchandise at the market, it sounds like you have an in to get an idea of where it is. And so you go directly there, and it doesn't take you an hour, thankfully. So you go, and you enter the market, and the time of day that it is, around probably midday at this point, the market's bustling. It's busier than when you were there last. The people are, it's dense, peak, shopping time as well. It's a Saturday, everyone's out, everyone's here. And as soon as you enter into the street, you hear it first and you go in, and it's bustling. It's loud. It's action. And Teacher Ott smiles and he says, "Come along," and walks straight into the crowd. And you have to you weren't really ready because you're jam packed.
I assume there's that moment of, oh god, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if who all's familiar, but if you've ever been to, this is my clearly very normal analogy that everybody has experience with, the shuk in Israel or something like that at peak time, genuinely bustling market full of stalls and vendors and people stopping and haggling and interrupting and going through and moving and just, it's action. And Teacher Ott plows straight through everybody. And you are suddenly finding yourself trying to dodge and catch up, and he's walking at a brisker pace than he has been this entire time.
Oh, what the heck?
And you're like, what the heck? And you're struggling to keep up with him. And he's ducking and moving, and you're trying, and you're moving, and you're going, and make me a perception check to try to make sure you keep your eyes on him.
Oh, God, come on. 13.
13. You're grateful that Teacher Ott has bright, a light blue and yellow cloth, the color of his wrap today is just those really kind of vibrant colors, as is a lot of the vibrancy here at the market. But you've seen it enough that you're okay, I can recognize that. And you see another pattern and you're like, oh, did he go that way? And you're like, no, wait. And by a thread, you almost miss him. And by the time you recognize that you started following the wrong person, you catch a flash of the cloth again to your left, and you're like, that's him. And you duck after, and you see that retreat, the figure of Teacher Ott ducks down between these two buildings and like disappears. And you do your best to follow. And when you get to where he disappeared, you just see these like a couple steps down and this small door.
I will knock first, not knowing if this is actually, like, assuming this is where he went, but not wanting to just plow into somebody's house.
You knock, and there's this like moment of like you waiting, and before you're really able to like register, like, okay, what's the deal, the door like quickly opens, and this like large man like ducks out from within it, out and pushes past you out into the street. And as the door opens, you hear a loud like raucous kind of like din from inside of this space.
Okay.
It's like a gathering space.
And she goes, like, I think she's starting to put two and two together. And so she's like, okay. And in she goes.
You just, through the open door that's left behind you, duck in, and the noise of the market is amplified in here to the noise of the clattering of tankards and plates and dice on tables and people talking, and this is some form of entertainment hall, tavern. You have no idea what this is, but clearly people are here having fun. And you hear cheers suddenly bursting from like over the other room that makes you like look over there, and you look around and Teacher Ott is nowhere to be found. And you're now in a strange place that you have never been before, in an overwhelming market that you are not familiar with, and you are struck with how much this is not what you are familiar with. What do you do?
I mean, her first instinct is to try and get out of here, but she also believes the Teacher Ott is in here.
Yeah, so, you're pretty confident he went in here.
Yeah, so she is extremely uncomfortable at this point, but so she's going to start pressing through the crowd to see if she can find him. So she's just kind of going through, going, Teacher Ott! No, and realizing like her voice is probably not getting over this ruckus at all. And
like, it's one of those things where it's like, you are a young adult, but the people in here are, it's like, I'm not saying like you're not distinctly smaller than everybody here, but it feels that way.
I'm in the biker
Maybe it's
bar.
because the confidence, maybe it's other stuff, but there's like broad-shouldered people, and you're like, oh god, what is happening? And then you hear somebody start calling out, and it seems like, okay, on one side there's like some cheering happening, on the other side there's like an auction suddenly happening, and people are like talking and starting to like call out and things like that, and it's getting to the point of like, okay, you're pressing into this overcapacity space. Definitely not up to code, y'all. And you go about like halfway into the space when you start to get particularly overwhelmed. And you're not finding Teacher Ott. And you go to look back to be like, okay, maybe let me get out of here. And you look that you're like farther in than you realized, or it's just as crowded to get back out, and you're like kind of like stranded in the middle of this like space, and there's a few steps behind you. You get kind of shoved, and your foot hits the heel of your foot hits this like step, and you're like, oh, I'm now by these like two little steps into like another little room, and you're kind of getting to this pinnacle of overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear Teacher Ott's voice in your ear, like a whisper, and you recognize it as like a magical message and not that he's actually standing near you. Try now.
So as she hears that, she hears that, and she remembers him saying something about remember what the spell is for, essentially. There's going to be a split second where she thinks about what she scribbled out on her letter. And in that moment, she's going to think about seeing Ark next to the bees covering his ears like he was uncomfortable and almost in pain. And she's just going to stop and do the hand motions that she knows and just goes, shh.
And as you do, the voices and the din of the entire space around you quiet to a whisper. And there's this wash of relief. And you look around you as you open up your eyes, and it's just as busy as it was. And people are talking just as loud as they were, and there's just as much action, but there's a moment of solace where you're standing. And it's not that the voices and the sounds aren't permeating your space. You look around, you hear everything. It's just being filtered through to you in a whisper. And you feel the sense of relief and then pride. You did it. You cast the spell. And stepping up to you onto your side is Teacher Ott with this big smile, and he puts a hand on your shoulder and he was like, well done. That's very impressive.
That was hard.
And you did it admirably and on the first try.
I mean, I think this is more like the 1,000th try, but
On the
I'll take
first
it.
try with the right intent. And even Teacher Ott's words are like permeating to you, like into a whisper, like louder than the rest because he's right next to you. But you notice that like they're still dinned for you. And he kind of puts his head in like close to you, kind of just like in a little bit closer into your space. And then kind of leans out of it. Oh, this is interesting. I think this is very, very fascinating, actually. I think this is an outright success. But now, Arafe, the reason, the purpose for this spell is not to help. Not in the sense of you helping Ark. That's not what it is. What is it?
protection.
It's a protection. It's a solace. A space of calm. It is to combat being overwhelmed. It is to
Peaceful
combat
place.
too much. Peace. You had to put yourself in the shoes of the reason you're casting this spell, not your intent to help another, but to be the person you're trying to help. That's what made this work.
I think I forget about that sometimes.
I know. Now, as soon as you step out of this little space of yours, it's going to get loud again, so hold my hand and let's
Okay.
make it for the door. This
Let's
is
go. Yeah, let's get out of
And
here.
you just kind of book it together, like through the din and out of this space.
As we get outside, she goes, let's never come back here.
And he kind of laughs. However, and he kind of like shakes the little like bag that he's still carrying from his wife. We do have a little bit of market spending money, so
Perhaps we should try a few of those pastry places, see if we can figure out where they get the
I
cake.
completely agree. And he's just like completely happy with this. And by the way,
just
as
hang
you
out with Odd all
exited-
day.
Yeah, you guys have a good time. He's a fun guy, all in all, and you can tell he's eccentric in his own way as you kind of get to see perhaps a different side of Teacher out of the school.
She will never tell him, but he reminds her a lot of Hideaki.
Amazing. And I love this epiphany. Holy shit. Okay. And you notice that he's like what you do is you go through the market and you purchase the things like some of like his favorite pastry places, and he shows you, and there's like sweet pastries and meat pastries and all sorts of things, and he shows you the best vendors, and he shows you like, no, not this guy, he absolutely swindles people, and his day old pastries that he just reheats, like shows you the ins and outs of what he knows. But as soon as you get it, you head out of where the market is and find some sort of terrace overlooking one of the riverways, one of the canals, and he sits down, and you kind of just have a little picnic, and you notice him in particular start like pointing out the birds that fly by and some of the wildlife, and like you learn an interesting facet of Teacher Ott, that he's like an avid bird watcher. This is what he loves to do. And you just kind of hang out for a little bit before parting ways as he goes back home, and you can return to the Magaambya's campus with a sense of satisfaction. So, you have successfully created a brand new spell that does not exist in Pathfinder2e, but it fucking does now.
Yeah.
Because I completely agree that this should exist. And I also want to read y'all, because we made this into a real spell, y'all. Let's see.
Did you put it in a handout?
I should have.
Oh no.
Alas.
I
we
will
get that next
in
time.
2 seconds flat. There it is.
Also, somebody pulling out daddy issues at this point.
A poll. Who has the worst daddy issue? Let's go.
I don't know my daddy.
My dad's great.
I don't like my daddy.
I don't think Art even has a daddy.
Erica has a mama and a baba, so you know.
We have the entire spectrum.
The whole team.
I got everyone.
I adore this. I will do this. Hold on, sorry.
That's okay, we're stalling. I want to be able to show the spell off while you read it, so I think it's valid. It's a good still.
I think.
I know we made this up this afternoon.
Well, so I took your inspiration, and it's a little bit more perhaps than what you realize as you muse to yourself of the uses and it's what more you could pull from this, basically. So.
And we made it pretty.
It's true. Scanning the PDF and it's thinking and it's doing.
Scanning.
I will start reading it though.
This is the Natambu music though, and I like it.
I like it a lot.
Because it's like, it's on the same wavelength, but different than the usual Kindled Magic music.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So the spell is Muffle. That's what it's called, Muffle.
Where did you share it? Where is it?
Aerophase
It's
Muffle.
processing, and I don't know how long it's gonna process,
Oh,
so we're just gonna
solid.
Go for it.
Great. Excellent. Great.
I will post a screenshot for y'all in our Discord though.
No.
Cool.
It is an illusion spell. The source is WafflesMapleSyrup's Outcast Outclassed, baby.
Hey, let's go, gang!
The traditions are arcane, divine, and occult, meaning anybody with divine, occult, or arcane is allowed to use this. It is a one-action spell, somatic and verbal, with a range of 30 feet and an area of a 5-foot square. So the target is a 5-foot square. Sustained up to 1 minute. Sound within the target area is reduced to a whisper. This does not interfere with the verbal components of spellcasting, unlike silence, right? Spell effects with the auditory trait are nullified within the area unless the spell effect requires a saving throw, in which case the level of success is considered 1 lower.
So if you, like, succeed against a charm, then you would fail. right? No.
No, we meant to say one higher.
Yeah, one
actually.
higher. Sorry, the other way around.
Sorry.
So, like, if you failed against a charm, you would succeed.
Because it's just filtered, like, it's just a little less
A
is
little
really
less
all it is.
powerful in there.
Now, while in the target area, you also receive a +1 bonus to stealth checks. And you can dismiss the spell. Now, we also have an ability to be heightened at 2nd or 3rd level, which at 2nd level, the area increases to a 5-foot burst, which means basically like 4 squares, 10 radius. And the bonus of stealth checks increase to a +2. And at 3rd level heightened, the area becomes a 5-foot emanation centered on a willing creature of your choice, which means it moves around with somebody, which is more useful sometimes. And it stays at a +2 stealth, which is pretty cool. So, yeah.
I should screenshot that and save this since it's nowhere else right now.
Well, we'll fix it because it says lower and I'm at higher, but it's all good.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Yay.
it's taking forever, so we're not gonna do this PDF. It's still
No.
processing in the background. It's okay.
Sorry,
it's
YouTube people, join the Discord if you want to see.
Yeah.
It'll be posted as all things are. But that was a lot of fun to make a new spell, so thank you, Star, for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. It was a great scene, y'all.
Bye. I'm just kidding.
Bye.
Bye. Time to go.
Okay, love you. Bye bye.
So, Hideaki, how's it hanging?
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey. So, back on campus, Hideaki, you have noticed something interesting pop up on the bulletin board at the Aspire dormitory. A beautifully crafted poster that stands out to you quite clearly.
Indeed.
And it's interesting because you actually overhear some of the other students talking about it. You hear Okoro kind of like excitedly being like, I think there's a new club. I think there's a new club that's good, like train. Like I kind of want to try it out. Do you want to try it out with me? And you look over, like you round the corner, and he's talking to Essie, who's just like, well, we already train every morning. I mean, what could this really entail? Well, we'll do that instead. We'll just do that instead. We'll just let's try it out once. Come on. I think I saw Ark putting the posters up, and I'm kind of curious. Like maybe we can all like train together. And Essie's like, I mean, sure. I'll try it out. That's fine. And you're overhearing this combo, so feel free to like.
You wouldn't mind adding one more to the fun, would you?
Oh, are you interested as well? I thought you're not a part of it yet? I thought you.
Not yet. I just noticed it actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I saw Tal and Ark kind of like there the other day. I guess they're
Oh,
starting
really?
it new. Yeah. They're but like no, let's go together. I think it's tomorrow. You want to go? Is it like the 5 a.m.? Yeah, I mean, and Essie's like, what's the
5 a.m. Well,
It's one of the sessions. There's other ones, but I think that's the one that's tomorrow's, anyways.
is it like a sliding scale of like 5 a.m. Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Thursdays? Like...
Yeah, so you notice, like, if you look at the poster, at the bottom, there's, like, 3 sections, and it's just, like, Tuesday, 5 a.m., Fridays, noon, and, like, 4 p.m., or, like a late night, like 5 p.m. or whatever, like, I don't know, something, on the weekend.
Whew. All right. Yeah. Man, that's early. But some folks back home used to get up early to do a lot of forming stuff. So, and I would try to, stay asleep. But, it's some of those shows are really loud when your bedroom is right next to, a big ass barn. So, shouldn't be a big deal.
Just like, I like to sleep too, but honestly, I think this will be really fun. So if we do it, heck, even if we just do it like once a week,
Yeah,
it'll be good.
Do you think it's yeah, of course. Well, before you go, do you think it's like a team-based thing? You know what? Why am I asking you?
I
you know
have
what?
not.
should ask
I
them.
just saw the posters too. I have.
You
no
did too.
clue.
Yep. I will definitely. You know what? I'll go find out.
Cool. I will see you tomorrow then. Essie's like, I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, bright and early. Don't forget to. The kitchen's probably well. Oh, you know what you should do? Get some extra food, and then that way you have it for the morning.
Oh yeah. To be honest, if I train on a full stomach, it's actually rather nauseating. So I don't tend to eat until afterwards. And by the time
You're one of
we're
those
done,
like
I'm
empty
sure
stomach cardio folks. Okay, totally cool. Yeah.
It's just honestly, I found waking up really early and then eating right away makes it a worse training session. And you'd be surprised. It gets your system just jump started, and then afterwards the the dining hall will be open by then, so then we can all just go have breakfast after.
Yeah, like a celebratory go breakfast. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
like we normally do when we spar. She kind of looks at Okoro like this isn't like something new for them anyways. Perfect. And as that conversation finds its awkward end,
Yep. Like, all
following
right.
day,
See ya.
bright and early is one of the first sessions of Sparring Club that has been properly advertised. So before we turn to Hideaki, Ark, bright and early,
Right.
having been convinced to shift it from 4 to 5 at the very least.
We met in the middle.
Yeah. You have no idea that people have been talking about this, kind of going back to your studies and everything. So, are you expectant? Like, what are the expectations that
I've been showing up every day.
Yeah.
Yep. Ark is the Ark resembles my brain. Haha, funny.
What?
There's no expectations. It's if 30 people show up, it would be great. If it's him alone, he'll train. Like there's no real expectation there, and thus there is no excitement or disappointment once the expectation is
Always
met or
expect Tao being there though, because they are.
And so as you head out though, this time, not having to be there for multiple hours training alone, ready to go in still the Spire dormitory is Tal.
I'm like sitting on one of the whatever that sofa seating thing,
His couch
just
is over there.
waiting. Just kind of stretching a little bit.
Yeah, I think Ark
Morning.
begins to walk past and says, "Morning. Are you training again?"
Yeah, I'll just get up as you walk past. I'll just get up and join you. Yep.
Okay.
Hideaki. It's early. It's early.
I felt that in my bones.
And-
There's a physical response to Jacob right now.
It's early, and Overnosa's not even manifested right now.
Sure.
But even you hear a yawn in your head,
And it probably just comes out
yeah.
loudly, that wasn't even me.
I mean, you could just go right back to sleep. It's the beds, you're comfortable. Yeah. Then you hear
Sorry, Waffles has distracted the shit out of me. Anyway, so
I read Jacob is now flustered and blushing.
Waffles, please.
I have to read it for our only listeners.
yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
I typed in Hideaki rolls out of Ignacy's bed.
Jesus.
I mean, wait.
Christ.
I think Maria's response is what makes it so great. You can't just drop that.
You can't hear. Just do that. Oh, God.
How the fuck am I supposed to continue after that? Jesus.
Well, you say
Okay.
good morning first, and then
Yeah.
you leave.
I was about to say normally you just stay in bed at that point, right?
I mean,
Are we getting breakfast together, or do we just go?
Oh my gosh.
see you later for further studying.
You almost roll over to go back to sleep in your own bed.
For now, I actually think he legitimately is so tired that he falls out of bed.
Well,
Like he-
and then it's
boom.
you're there and you're waffling back and forth about that bleary-eyed
I'm
like
waffling.
you can convince yourself anything in that early morning of I
Yeah.
don't actually need to go to work today. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
I think it's
you
like
hear
the
that
floor
inner
is really
voice.
nice. The floor
Yeah.
is really nice right here.
Yeah. And the thing that actually kind of wakes you up out of that is hearing some of the voices in the hall. You hear a door close out in the hall, and it brings you back into the now. Oh yeah, Spark Club.
Yep. He just flings the door open. Morning.
Oh, morning.
And you kind of when you get out of your dorm room and head out into the hall, they're beginning to walk out of the dormitory front steps.
You're
Yeah, actually, I just saw the sign yesterday. 4 a.m., huh?
Oh, 5, I
It's
think.
5. Yeah.
5 a.m., huh? Cut, print. Oh, no.
I know that was Duval, but it was so good.
But it was perfect because also it's just early AM, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just death. I'm totally cool with that.
Same difference.
I didn't think you got up this early.
I don't.
Well,
But I saw the sign and was just talking it over with a few folks, and seemed like the smart thing to do. I might feel awful about it at 7 o'clock, but to be fair, there's only one way to find out.
Not if you do it a lot.
Oh yeah, because this kind of becomes a routine, right?
Yes.
By the way, how y'all got up really early? Y'all seem super prepared. How long have y'all been doing this?
3 times?
That's too long. That's too long. That's way too long. That's too many days already. That's
As
more
long-
than one. You don't
as
even
long
have to
as it-
answer. Wow.
As long as it took Cal to make the signs.
a couple of days.
Going well so far?
Well, it's
Yes.
just us so far. You said other people were talking about it, though, right?
Oh yeah. I think that it's not going to be just you two anymore. If they wake up in time.
Around this time, actually, as you guys are all at this point exiting the dormitory, and you go start walking down the path that takes you to the sparring fields, and there as you turn out to the path is both Essie and Okoro, stretching, just doing their morning stretches, and they're morning. I just kind of
Morning.
This is their own routine. It seems like they're used to this.
Morning.
So it's at the sparring fields, yeah.
Yes, the center of the sparring fields.
Center of the sparring fields. Got it. And even though Okoro lets out this yawn as he kind of reaches a hand in the air and stretching his other arm.
Same.
He's all right, well. Looks over at Essie, and Essie's don't even, and before she is finishing, she's last one there, and he just starts booking it.
I run.
Art runs.
Essie runs.
No, and he just starts running.
No.
Wasn't ready.
No.
For absolute funsies, let's do
Of
a
course.
round of
Yes,
athletics checks.
Please.
Let's go.
I haven't rolled any dice. Let's go.
Let's
I'm
go.
not the best at athletics.
I'm very bad at athletics,
Oh,
but I
I'm
am
gonna
great
use
at
0 point.
acrobatics. Can I?
Wow, that's terrible.
Can you
Can I
acrobatics real quick?
acrobat? Can I
you
do
cartwheel there?
that? Well, see, I was thinking more like parkour related, which does require athletics, but also requires more like dexterous and like an acrobatic nature.
No, and this is like you're not even there. You're just like on the path that goes directly to the sparring field. So this is just literally like
Just running.
like,
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, running to the
Cool.
path.
I'm just imagining everybody huffing and puffing as they're trying to run as fast as they possibly can, and there's Tal's like bouncing off trees and over cliffs and like, tumbling along and just hardcore parkouring with ease.
Listen, if we were in the forest around where the sparring field is, then
Doing
I
the
would
tree jumping.
swing my way through there. But no, I rolled a 2.
15 for Koro, 11 for Essie.
15 for art.
What was the check again?
Athletics.
Athletics? 5, and I used a hero point to make it from a 2 to a 5.
Incredible.
Amazing.
To be fair, I'm not gonna do this because it's not a super meaningful check. But I remembered it, so I want to remind all the players about it. This is one of the instances we should have asked to roll with a different modifier. So I should have been like, can I roll athletics with dexterity?
Oh yeah.
I should have done that.
Because you can change that like under your athletic score and everything too as well. So
It would have.
Well, what is? Go
it
ahead.
would have given
What
me
is their
10.
dexterity modifier? Okay.
Oh, dexterity modifier.
3.
Oh, sorry, not acrobatics, just the dex modifier.
Dex modifier.
Oh, okay, then it would have been 8. So not much better at all.
mine would have been 19 total.
Damn.
Okay.
Well, mine would have been up to a 5.
Okay. Well, regardless, it doesn't change much as y'all book it. So tied for first is Akoro and Ark. How do you want to handle this? Are you just gonna make it there at the same time?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna do something?
Ark's not gonna do anything like major.
Okay, y'all get there at the same time, and Akoro's like, oh, that. Okay, all right, I see you. That's just kind of like is just happy to be like in his eyes, and you've known Akoro enough at this point. Like he just likes playing games. Like that's his jam.
Yeah.
Tal, talk to me a little bit about what happened.
Jeez, what happened with a 2/5?
I mean, you could very much just not have ran with everybody. You know, stretching's important. Like,
So just a simple jog, not a race.
I think they do like intend to go all out, and then they I think there's this moment where they watch everybody just like take off, and they all kind of get ahead of Tal, and Tal just kind of slows down to like a little bit of a walk as they watch two of their close friends and these two other fellow students, two people who I didn't think would be running around with watching Hideaki and Ark together with two other individuals who are separate from this group, just like running and having fun together.
is Hideaki? Is this what you would?
I don't think.
Well,
okay.
on Hideaki's face.
No, I'm looking from behind, so it doesn't matter.
Sure,
No
fair
matter
enough.
what it
Absolutely.
is.
It's so much worse because as he's getting his ass kicked, and Tal is in 4th place essentially out of the 5, and he's in 5th, right? As he's staring at the back of their head, their words peek back into his mind. You always get to win.
As they then slow their jog to let you pass and go ahead and kind of just like maybe
I do not
let
pass.
you win. Okay. All right. So the two of you basically slow to like a.
So this sucks, right? This sucks. This really
No,
sucks.
I'm like walking at this point.
Yeah.
I think eventually like he'll just.
So Essie meets you over there, and then eventually, after a small delay, you see both Hideaki and Tal like just walk up past that point. Ark. You have students. So to speak. So, how does Ark take initiative?
Ark would begin probably at first, and feel free to jump in with any other characters, but he would begin like he has with Tal probably every time, because that's what's normal so far, and kind of step out into a space where he can have enough, like, not whack somebody with his bow staff and just begin training without like ever really saying anything to anybody.
Yeah, I think that in part of your routine with Tal has definitely been going through the stretches that they showed you. And as you just start kind of falling into the stretching first, Essie and Okoro just start following along. So they'll take up space, and what they do sort of is they don't like stand alongside you, they stand mirroring you. Kind of like, the yoga teacher in the front of the class. It's an open field, and you start moving, and you kind of just separate yourself and start doing your stretches, and they kind of fall into that place and start stretching alongside you as Tal and Hideaki kind of wander up.
Yeah, I think Tal would kind of naturally just like head over towards roughly where like Ark is, and start stretching as well, and yeah, just like naturally, just like blending in with all that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like now it's almost like as you follow through like Hideaki, it's like Essie and Okoro side by side, and Ark and Tal side by side, and it's like, what are you up to?
So sorry, Zupa.
I have such a smile on my face, and I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, but I'm having such a good time.
Such a mood.
I didn't do it.
It's amazing that we escalated it from 3's a crowd to 5's a crowd. I love it so much. Anyway, he would just find a space in the middle, and then and just kind of say out loud, "You don't think you're not just gonna just sit in my head?" He'll manifest over Noza.
How?
Oh.
I'm sorry, but everyone's like paired up, and Hideaki's like, over Noza. Help me out here. And the dragon manifests next to you, and he looks at you
so
dead in the face, Hideaki.
He's so mad
and
at
he's
me.
just
Yup.
like,
Yup.
you want me to stretch?
I need a second. Oh God. Okay.
And he says it out loud. Like,
Of course he does. Absolutely. Well, yeah.
Tal, like in the middle of the stretch, hearing Overnosa would say, "Good morning."
good morning.
Ark would echo what Tal told them early and be like, "Yes, you have to stretch or you'll get hurt."
Exactly. Besides, you're not even like all here, remember? So like, this is still like a relatively new experience for you. So
he nods and will just, it's the most half-assed. Like he's like, yep, sure, And he's
also he's like a
pulls his
long,
wing down.
skinny noodle dragon, and you're
Yep.
not.
Yep. I'm a tall, skinny noodle fox boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Different, lengthwise. Yeah. That's fine. one's landscape, one's vertical. It's great.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
I will say
Okay.
though that Tal is keeping an eye on Hideaki, and if Hideaki starts to like stretch in non-productive ways, as in like, you know, you're just doing like the this, which does something, but like optimal stretching, you know, to actually like, you know, the stretching that kind of doesn't in the morning doesn't feel too good because you're stretching muscles that are sad and sore. So like, I think Tal's gonna keep an eye on Hideaki, and like, if there's any point where like he starts to like half-ass anything, they're gonna go over and like basically physical trainer like help you figure out how to stretch.
No.
Wait.
So, because he would try to follow, like, and I think it would become very clear, like, yeah, they've definitely been doing this a while, and like, because he's pretty quick to pick up on stuff, but like, this is a net new experience entirely.
Yep.
In Tal's head, like Tal's mental head space, they're like, why are all these people stiff as boards? Like, what are they doing with their lives?
Like, you're like, okay,
What's
now,
happening?
Like, I think to a certain point, Tal, like, you see Hideaki stretch, and you think they're half-assing it, because they're not even touching their toes. You know what I mean? And you're like, no, like, Hideaki, and like trying be like, no, you should really.
I'm a book smart guy.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying. And you
I am
realize
trying.
that, like, as you
This is as
spot
far
him,
as I
like,
go.
yeah, that is as far as he goes.
Okay, cool. Then what I would do then is
Also,
I
he has
would
way too much pride to half-ass it anyway.
Yeah. I would pivot to different kinds of stretches, because if I'm seeing something doesn't work.
Yeah, let me get them knees push-ups.
and Ark, as you see this, you're recognizing kind of like Tal taking the first steps of instruction, of showcasing, okay, let's do this instead, and you see that. And as we move from stretching to breaking out into some of these actual training exercises, do you step up to the plate and sort of mimic that type of leadership, or do you let Tal take the lead?
Tal doesn't initiate the lead taking.
I was about to say, if Tal initiates the lead taking, Ark would let it happen. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen, I think Ark will kind of have this game plan in their head and will walk up and say, okay, the stretching is complete.
Oh, thank God.
Now we can train.
Great.
Did any of you have anything specific you wanted to join for?
SC pipes in first. I'm really just, curious to see what you bring to the table. I know you have a different fighting style than what I just like seeing all sorts of fighting styles. So I'm here to learn something new. Akora's like, I'll do that. I mean, I always want to get better. So like, if you think I can fight better, it's more like I'm used to usually doing exercise. I'm not really like a close-up fighter or anything like that. So like, whatever you think is best. Whatever you think, Ark.
And Ark is like writing the stuff down.
For me, just getting better at defending myself and protection, that kind of thing. Be a little bit more well-rounded. Besides, I have the staff that I never really use.
Okay.
Oh. Tal kind of like looks behind you where this staff is. I never know. You have had that the entire time, haven't you?
The whole time.
Ark, like getting better at defense, but also like the staff, like that's sort of like the opposite of what would be useful in your brain, and like it's kind of like, well, that would be fighting. You want to get better at learning how to do that, or do you want to learn a bit better at defending? And you glance it over nose, and you're like, but that's you feel an inefficiency here.
Yeah. And then Tal?
I just realized Tal also has had a staff this entire time.
LOL.
Well, but
But you're spellcaster, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you've been using your claws.
I've been
recently.
using my actual claws of magic.
It's true.
I want to learn how to use magic with fighting, kind of like you do.
Yep, that too. For me.
Understood. And then he will begin, and he goes, I have never seen you two fight, talking about Essie and Akoro. So if you don't mind, I will instruct them first, and then show you my style, and any questions you have after, we can talk or spar, or I don't mind, but I have seen them fight many times.
Yeah, no worries. I can, Essie and I are usually sparring partners anyway, so, like, we'll spar meanwhile, so you can keep, like, get an idea of how we fight, and, go from there.
Sure.
Wait a sec. Why don't you fight me and Tal?
That's true, because then you would have something to compare it to, Ark.
Exactly.
Okoro looks to you, Ark. Is like he seems to be like, it's your class.
Sure.
And is defaulting to you.
Art kind of raises their eyebrows and says, I wouldn't mind that. It is for learning, so the only thing I would have is when I say stop, we stop the combat where it is, and then we would continue from that point if we decided to continue.
All right. And so pairing up, it's going to be Hideaki with Overnosa, like, as one, like, it could be one entity because y'all fight together. Who will you go to? Essie or Akoro?
Oh no, he was referring to Hideaki and Tal versus them.
Oh,
that's
got
not
it.
what Tal was saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so what does Ark kind of go towards? You pairing them up that way, or like 2 and 2?
Or the other way.
I think Ark would naturally, like, hand motioning, not touching anyone, but beginning to pair them up would, like, attempt to push. Flips a coin in my brain. SC with Hideaki and Akoro with Tal.
That's great, because Tal wanted to go with the Koro for that.
Perfect. Okay. And so y'all begin to fight, spar, and show your skills. To zoom out a little bit from rolling actual initiative with stat
Roll
blocks
initiative.
and everything, which will at 11 tonight, not so much. But I want to understand what comes of this. So, Hideaki, you are paired up with Essie, who surprises you with their finesse as a fighter. But you notice the
he
first
saw
thing
them.
that
He did see them, right? Like during the tournament, right?
you did see them during the tournament, but there was an unfortunate Murayama incident that sort of didn't allow for the full display of their prowess. But
Fair
it's
enough.
different watching somebody fight and being like, yeah, to being faced against them.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Essie is like on point, and to the point where Ark, as you watch Essie, you're impressed. And Essie knows her stuff. And as you recall, she's also a Tempest Sun Mage focus.
Yep.
And throughout, she kind of huffs and smiles and is. Let's do this. We'll do opposing checks to see how people do. So, Essie versus Hideaki. We're going to make this pick an attack roll, make it a standard attack roll.
Well, they're on the same team, if that matters.
You said pair up.
Yeah, you were referring to me and Essie versus Tal and
It's 2v2, not 1v1.
That's what they were referring to. That's what Hideaki was
that's
referring
what,
to at
that's
first.
what. Yes, he just
my
switched. He
goodness.
just switched the partners on me. That's what it was.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
difference maker.
Cool. Never mind then.
I'm
I take
sorry.
it all back. No. That's my misunderstanding. Okay, so we are 2v2ing.
Yeah.
We are?
Sure.
Okay.
I
Cool.
was-
All right. It's fine.
Somebody tell me what's happening.
It's fine. We said both multiple times. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah.
2v2 is fine. Let's go.
Neural
Let's roll
divergence.
some attack rolls against each other, and that's just how it's gonna be. So
I'm gonna give her a
Hideaki,
point.
who are you? Attacking
Who am I? Indeed.
Who are you?
Who am I?
are you?
Indeed.
Hideaki,
I'm a
who
dragon.
No, we're gonna go with what I said. You're attacking Essie. Let's
Okay.
go.
So you are paired
Okay.
up. So
Okay,
single
cool.
attack.
Pairs.
Cool.
Pairs and pairs.
Cool.
I think that
So-
honestly would be, from like a teaching standpoint,
Yeah.
easier
Makes
to
way more
monitor.
sense.
Yep.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my spell attack, or am I using like?
So what? How are you?
what's the
Are you
modifier?
kind of? What's the tactics? Are you going and just kind of sparring a Essie, or are you pulling Overnoza into this?
I'd certainly pull Overnoza into it. Yeah.
Okay, so do you sort of try to like tag team together in there and like flank basically, or are you stepping back and letting Overnoza fight?
I think I'm trying to convince her that I'm about to physically or magically attack her, and I realized I was just about to explain flanking, which is what you just said. So yes, that's the plan.
Cool.
I accidentally went to mansplain. I'm so sorry.
No, that's totally cool. So go ahead and just roll one of your attacks. Whoever you
Okay.
want, just roll one.
All right, cool. That's a 17 to hit.
Okay. And it's going to be for her.
A 34. No, I'm just kidding.
You thought you were the dragon.
Also an
I'm-
18, funnily enough, to hit. So y'all sort of pair up, and the thing is, though, and the thing that you notice, Ark, as well from watching this, is you are seeing Essie admirably fight against two people right now. She's on either side.
Love that.
Hideaki is trying to go in. Overnose is trying to go in. Now, Hideaki, I'm going to say, it's for some ground rules for this, right? We're starting with Martial. Y'all start with displaying some martial skill, because
Sure.
To safely do magic would be a whole thing right now. So you start with just martial. So Overnoza knows what he's doing. Hideaki a little less so as you flank, and you quickly see Essie like balancing this act, and she's not getting a upper hand because Overnoza is consistently going on her, but like
Right.
at the same time she's consistently deflecting Hideaki and refocusing on Overnoza to make sure that it doesn't actually land a good hit.
Sure.
So that's what's happening over there. Tal versus Okoro.
It me.
Let's go.
It me. I would like to use my hands and feet and close quarter combats, please. That's what I want to do.
Let's do it.
But I don't remember what to do. I'm not gonna lie.
Roll to hit, whatever that
Roll
is
to
for
hit.
you.
Okay.
And we're not using this as like a versus AC. We're just using this as like this
Right.
is your check versus the other check.
So,
Yeah.
question, because unarmed fists technically do strength base. They're based in strength.
Yep.
I
I'm gonna
want
say
to.
as is
Okay.
in this case. This is a preliminary show, and then we're gonna let Ark step in and show you all how to improve yourselves.
Okay.
Amazing.
15.
15. Perfect. You do have the finesse trait on these, by the way, which means that they should be set up for your dex.
Yeah, they can use sticks.
Which I believe it is, because it says train modifier. Yeah.
Oh,
So
sick.
15. Okoro surprises you with a 19. And you're doing well and you're sparring a little better, but he's blocking your blows, and he's not like, he's an athletic individual, and you can tell that very quickly because he's quick, he's fast, he's swift, and he blocks you and is able to kind of pick you up. But he also quickly kind of just like swipes unexpectedly, almost like he enjoys like surprising you. Like he's definitely in his, you can tell he's like playing this as a game, and he lets you kind of attack, and then surprises you with like a sweeping your leg basically and making you fall back, and then like helping you up and continuing. And so that's kind of what you're seeing arc, where he is matched well and he is doing okay, but in this case, in a matter of skill, just knows what he's doing with his fists more than Tal does.
Yeah.
All right, Arc.
Yeah, so 2 separate occasions. Arc yells stop, basically. Starting with Hideaki, he kind of goes up between them and says, you said you want to defend yourself better.
Yeah.
Could I ask why you are up in combat then?
Well, I mean, it's sparring, right? Like I'm supposed to be sort of a give and take, right?
Well, the most advantageous place for you to be would be behind Overnosa, right? I think Overnosa is better prepared for the physical combat, and you the spells, the magic. That would be the mixture of magic and physical I would recommend for you, at least.
That's true. But in the past, it's not really worked out so well when going that route.
Yes.
But I'll continue to do that. Appreciate the note.
For sure. And also, he, can I say that I picked up some like minor equipment, like just like wood sparring practice stuff.
Right at about this time, you hear, and you're gonna be able to continue this, I promise. Okay. You actually hear like a throat clear behind you, and you all kind of turn, and like on the path, not kind of entering the sparring field, but just kind of watching from the path, is Teacher Ayuwari. And in his hand is the folded up note.
Might be who Teacher Ayuwari is.
Tournament
the
director.
The bald one?
The tournament winner, the teacher who...
We like him a lot.
The most combat
Yeah, leader of the
prowess.
Tempest Sun. Yeah, leader of the Tempest Suns.
Got it.
We like him.
Well, what do we have here?
A club.
I saw. And you're sparring, I see.
Yes. Learning.
What safety tools do you have in place to make sure these students don't get hurt?
The same amount that the school has.
Fucking high, holy
I gotta
shit.
go! I gotta go! Goodbye!
I think there's an absolute go on Hideaki's
Wow!
Where is the mic drop? Where is it?
Wow! Ayuwari had like, once he had like cleared his throat, had started like stepping onto the field and kind of walking forward, with this sort of stern face. And as you say that, he looks at you, and his face breaks out into a grin.
Love that. I love that so much.
A good answer. Come, if you're going to be doing something like this, be outfitted at least properly. And if you have any questions or need any assistance, I'm happy to help. This is the kind of things I like to see. And he kind of walks you, Ark, and kind of waves you over. And walks you to the nearest building, basically this one, right down to the edge of like the sparring field. And you cross the path, and he walks you to this building, and he like to the side of the building is basically this like shed that is put into like the side of this building. Takes out a key and unlocks it, opens it, and there is an array of training staves, bucklers, like different like a little bit more sturdier shields, but physical martial weapons
For sure.
of different array. And he points and he's like, these are the dull ends. These are actually with sharpened blades. If you actually hurt yourself, please take care of it. I'm trusting you to handle yourselves and staunch the bleeding, but if you do need help, come get me. Understood?
Understood. Thank you.
He hands you the key.
Arg takes it.
Excellent. I like this. It's a very good idea. Let me know how it goes. And he like lets you in the shed and like lets you walk, like just continues walking around the sparring field.
Sure. Art grabs enough stuff, probably not in one trip, but we'll not ask anyone for help, but we'll grab enough stuff for everybody to be outfitted, and then very particularly at the end hold a buckler in his hand. And we'll go back to speaking to Hideaki as if nothing happened. So, if you overall want to defend yourself, I would suggest carrying a shield. That said, when your hands are taken up, it is much harder to cast. So these attach to your arms, and it kind of shows where like it would attach to your forearm, and leave your hands free. And then he waves Essie over and says, "Now, can just like throw a punch slow."
She does.
Yeah, and he like puts Hideaki's arm in like the place as to where you would block with your forearm.
Cool. And so you all start practicing that. And then the second time you yell stop.
I see Hideaki's face. I just didn't know if he had something to say. So.
Oh no, I was just going to say that like in the middle of all that, you just take a moment to be like, by the way, Essie, like you're amazing. Like
Oh, thank you. I sort of have to be.
Yeah, I get it. And then, wow.
Goes back to it.
And then, yeah, the second time he'll stop towards Tal, and I keep forgetting this person's name. Okaru?
Of course.
Okura.
Okay.
Oscar.
O-R-O.
Oscar. But he'll stop and says, Tal, if I can give a suggestion.
Sure.
I see just... He's like, you see him struggling to find the words to like say it. I don't know if you cast well. Your magic is fun. I don't know if your hands are meant for fighting. Your bare hands, just the hands. And he like goes and finds two like small, like relatively small, like daggers. I think you need some length, maybe these. He like shakes his head. Claws, if that's more comfortable.
Are they like actual daggers, or are they like
Wooden daggers, right? Because they're
Okay.
sparring, I think.
There's in the shed you find both, so you could definitely get the wooden ones.
Yeah. Basically, like he goes on to explain, he's like, just watching, I think you needed little further reach, a little less hitting with such a soft hand.
Okay. And I'll take the the daggers, and I've never like held two things together like this before while trying to do anything. So it's weird.
Something does strike you. So as you continue with that, something does strike you though, Tal, where it's like Ark said like claws, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. And it is odd to hold daggers. So I will give you the choice of continuing to learn with daggers or trying to practice kind of extending those claws and utilizing them more as weapons.
Yeah, and I want to say, I think like halfway through it, Ark would say, but you can't cast like this. And when Hideaki gave you that spell, it looked really effective. The like magical claw spell.
I think what they'll do is they'll nod and they'll think, and they'll toss one of the daggers to the side, and we'll kind of like do a slow practice using both to see which one they prefer. And it almost immediately, like they didn't even think about. So here's where their thought is. Their thought about like their physical, like their actual claws, is they were told, because it's something that can be very dangerous and can be, harmful, to be very careful with them, especially around people who are not who aren't cat folk, who don't like, have like fur, and that's like a natural defense kind of sort of thing. So they never considered using it for anything other than like climbing or acrobatics or anything like that. But I think as soon as they think about using them more offensively, it feels way more natural than using it. Like halfway through, they just ditch the second dagger.
Right.
On Okoro, like, what he does for ease is kind of like, he notices you, like, trying to make sure you don't actually, like, scratch into him. Mm-hmm. And so you guys, like, kind of makeshift these sort of, like, arm padding that he wraps around his forearms to allow you to, at the very least, hit without worrying about getting him. So you kind of find ways to mitigate damages with some of the supplies that are now available to you. And you do notice, Ark, like, when Rafika finished, like, walking around, like, as if he was going onwards down the path, he actually kind of stopped by some of the trees at, like, near the Leshy Garden and is watching y'all. Just watching. Okay.
And then while they're sparring, like, on their own, basically, like, once Ark got them going, and he's gonna keep an eye on them and watch them, but once he realizes, like, alright, they're good, they can one-on-one for a while, he kind of steps back and gets into his, like, flowing fight routine.
Mm-hmm. And you start doing so, and as you all do this, and as people rotate and take breaks and individually want to work on something, you are allotted, like, you basically trade partners every once in a while. So
sure.
Okuro's like, I want to really work on this one piece, so he's gonna go and do that alone, and then you partner up with Tal and try to practice this or that, and then likewise, and it just keeps so all of you work and practice with different individuals throughout the next couple hour, like probably like 2 hours, taking breaks and everything. So, at that point, as you pair up, as you watch, Tal's improvement and shifting and practicing and different things, you look at kind of like your own, but you've looked at your own, like, stuff before, and in fact, you've been criticized about your own stuff before from your mentor, so you not much gleaned for improvement from this. And you look over at Hideaki and you're like, well, you don't fight in that same manner, so that's not really going to make a huge difference to you. And then you get paired up with Essie at one point. And for the first time, there's a couple of times where you're on the back foot in your defense. And is actually a pretty good, like, match for you, at least in the physical sense. And it gets you interested in working a little bit on the you complement your stuff with your magic. That's where the majority of your damage is.
Yep.
But here, one-on-one with Essie, you're like, just in my, like, staff, like, versus type of, like, thing, you want to improve.
Yeah.
This is just your base defense. It's like, wait, how did she manage to do that?
Yep.
And you're rather impressed in particular with Essie's forte here. And with that, finding kind of a nice sparring partner, even for yourself, you're able to work on some of the things and find some gaps in your defenses and work on some of yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think some rolls will be fun here. How does your training go, y'all?
Horrible.
What kind of cool new things can y'all get? Hope you didn't use all your hero points because
I did.
You know, Arafe got a nice new spell. Y'all could get some stuff too.
Someone in the chat could give me a hero point though. That would be neat. That'd be really cool for chat to do that.
Just saying, right? Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Silence.
That's what you
Arc,
could do.
While we delay for time for Tal's hero point coming in clutch,
Sure.
let's hope, maybe. Ark, you want to start us off with how you're doing?
Sure. What do you want me to roll? I can roll a shocking grasp.
Let's go.
I think you begin practicing in particular earnest with Essie. Staff to staff. You guys get like more structured, like sturdy and a little bit flexible bow staffs from the shed. And you all start really practicing that.
Faux show.
So
show.
I like to think it's a bit more acrobatic of a dance.
Okay. I can do acrobatics or my wooden carved stick attack. Here we go.
What would you like?
They're the same plus, to be honest.
Okay, then it doesn't matter. A 17.
I kind of want a hero point.
What is that naturally?
9. It's like
Natural 9. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a sketch.
A risky hero point.
It's a sketch because like what if I roll a 2 and then it's horrible?
Oh boy.
Well, people have just lovingly rated in just in time to offer potentially some folks a hero point that may need
man.
some.
Me, that would be great.
All right, I'm going for it.
You gonna do it?
Arts,
Go for it.
Arts never. Oh, that was okay. Natural 20.
What the fuck?
That's fine. That's okay.
Woo!
Okay. Well, lucky for you, Ark. Lucky for you, Waffles.
You told me.
Yeah.
I totally did, funnily enough. But also, you think I only prepared like one thing? I have something different if you succeed or critically succeed.
I know.
Hey.
Look at you, GM badass. I see you.
It's you.
People like presents, so this is present time.
I hope I roll
It's gonna be so sad when somebody.
I was
when
so
I roll
scared.
a 1.
So, there's something that people have mentioned in the YouTube comments before about our dear friend Ark, which is like you can't use the staff with finesse. That's not a finesse, or like what is it?
It's
I'm
finesse.
gonna use. It is finesse. Okay. And we had to explain, y'all. It's a flavored, reskinned club.
Yeah.
So technically, what is on your character sheet is a club, right?
Yeah, that's why it does a D4 of damage.
Right. So that's not Ark though. I think it's time to let that club go.
Level up that club.
You now have access for your regular success to use the category of weapons that are pole arms as finesse weapons.
Let's go.
Oh damn! Let's go.
Let's go.
Um,
That's hype. Only character
There's-
in ever.
it's true. I'm giving gifts, and y'all rule
Gifts.
sticklers can suck.
Free
Alright.
gifts.
Yeah, you can. Suck it.
If your GM doesn't upgrade your character for out of level ups, then you're not cool.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
Our
in.
show is better
You
than
said it.
yours is.
Yeah. We have a dragon. Where's yours? Oh, wait.
Okay, so, and I really want to find this. Hold on. I want to have this up in front of me.
In front of
because-
you?
In front of me. Because there's some cool stuff. I gotta
Front of
find it.
you.
Is this the
In
pole
In front of
arm?
you.
Weapons. No.
Thank you, my dude, John Downey.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, sweet boy.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Here's the thing, right? You know how you were shoving people last time out of
Remember
their
how
spaces?
you pushed people a
Remember how
lot?
you kept
Boy,
pushing
I
people?
remember.
I did.
And now as you particularly kind of start actually having a sparring partner that utilizes stabs as well, and which is in lieu of polearms, it's being utilized right now as a polearm. You spar and you're sparring and you're like, oh, okay, and you are able to get better practice against actually using these, so to speak, polearms with finesse. And it's actually the fact that you're showing Tal and Tal showing you how some of that acrobatic and that flexibility is able to be useful. You're realizing after the past couple times that you're doing this that it is making you a bit more dexterous and finding interesting ways to utilize the polearm with that added dexterity, giving you that finesse option. But there's one other thing that you kind of do at the very end with Essie that you realize, oh, that's interesting, because you get a really nice hit in that makes her forcibly stumble backwards. And what I will also give you for that natural fucking 20 is the critical specialization of polearms is available to you.
So cool.
Critical specializations are when you crit hit with polearms, the target is moved 5 feet in a direction of your choice. This is forced movement.
Yes.
Which fits perfectly for you.
Yeah, I like it. For those that don't know, critical specializations are like attached to each group of weapon. And you don't automatically get them. You usually have to take like feats to unlock the specialization.
Yep.
Thank you, Gia Badass.
You're welcome.
All hail.
What a hero point. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
17
I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
over
I
20.
knew.
That was a good hero
So
point.
awesome.
I want it to be known to everybody that prior to this session, I talked to Waffles and I was like, you're gonna want to save those hero points for your I don't know what I said. I said something about like there's some fun stuff that you guys can get for this training. Something along those lines.
Yep.
And he was like, we'll see if the dice let me. And I was like, they always do for you. And look now, y'all.
I was so scared because it was a natural 9. I was like, but now I can just roll a natural 2. And with hero points, you have to take the second one. You don't take the
Second
higher.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Hate is a gamble for sure.
second one is high. Let's go.
So y'all, Tal, Hideaki, who wants to go next? Who wants it?
I mean, I want it, but I'm scared.
I'm not scared. I'm gonna go next then.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And I had every right to not be scared. Natural 19. I don't even know what I chose to roll. I got really excited to roll dice. I'm sorry. It's so me. It's so me. I just want to roll dice, you guys. But what I was thinking about that I did not say out loud was taking the opportunity to actually spar, like the rare opportunity to actually spar with Overnosa directly. And
So-
I was going to try and negotiate my way into an Arcana check because it's all about their connection.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So, in particular, what Arc was helping you with
Yeah.
was about learning to be able to be learning to up the defense.
Yep.
And practicing with the buckler.
Yep.
As you traded partners, as SE worked with Arc, you're able to free up and partner with Overnoza a bit and practice on some of those. And in doing so, you kind of recognize that Overnoza
Hey.
is like, I don't know, there's just something like Overnoza is a scaled dragon.
Yeah.
For hits that you trade, even if it were to be equivalent, he would take less. So mechanically, what is your AC?
My mechanical AC is a 15, if I recall correctly.
And what is Overnoza's?
I think 17 or 18. Let me check. No, I'm incorrect. 19.
Okay. So you're able to get a better read on like 15 versus 19 as what that means in actuality. Overnoza is a scaled dragon, and the hits hurt and don't do much to him. And it's a little bit weird, by the way, because you guys share health, so it's like doing damage to yourself in an odd way.
little masochism, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Stop hitting yourself.
But you're not sparring for hit points here. You're sparring to get a bit of a better understanding.
Yeah.
And you're practicing using your buckler now.
Right.
And trying to utilize that to block attacks while keeping your arms free. And when you were with SC, you're able to sort of like take that step back and try to let Overnoza take the lead because he has the way higher AC. And if you share hit points, it's definitely better to only have one in the fray, lessen the chance of getting that damage. And you start kind of figuring this out. So you can make... I would like it to be a bit more physical, personally.
Okay.
Can I throw something random out there?
Yeah.
Can I aid them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, would you like... I mean, athletics I know is not great for you.
Nope. I'd settle on acrobatics.
Can we just do an attack roll? Can we do like a Overnoza attack roll or something like that?
Sure. In that case, if it was
we're fighting.
We're fighting. Where did you go? Accept. Oh, that's wrong. Okay.
You know what? I'm sorry. Fucking just make it an Arcana check. Come on, it's how you fight. It is your fighting. It is your fighting.
In that case, it's are you aiding me, Waffles?
Yeah. What would you like me to aid with?
I
think I have to match the skill technically.
I actually think.
I think so. I think it has to be an Arcana check.
Because right now it's a 26, so I don't know.
Yeah, he rolled a 27.
Jesus Christ!
That's just just a +2 on top.
Yeah, but man, so
that's a 28.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
That's what I rolled for my nat 20.
I was just about to say, in sync. We're going to the Grammys, R2. Let's go. You're Justin Timberlake.
So, Hideaki.
Hi.
With this practice and with this ability to just really get used to the buckler as part of your routine, you gain access to the shield block feat. Just not something that you would typically get access to. And what it allows you to do is, as a reaction, use the shield. So, a little bit into the details of Pathfinder rules, shield only adds to your AC when you raise a shield.
You have to spend an action to raise a shield.
You have to spend an action to raise a shield. So that's one of the things that you could definitely start learning to. So you can learn to like, okay, 2-action spell, raise a shield as one of my joined actions with Overnoza. Like that's what you've done this whole time, learning how to manipulate that. So you get intrinsic to raising a shield. That doesn't require a feat. But the in-combat reaction of when your shield is raised to move it into position to take some of that damage instead of you when you are hit is the shield block reaction. And you now have that.
Amazing.
But for your critical success, you also gain a +1 circumstance bonus to your athletics while a part of training in this club.
Oh,
Now, definition for my brain. Does that mean while he trains in this club, it is a +1 to athletics on anything like outside of the club as well? Or is it only a +1 to athletics on rolls inside the club?
No. Outside of the club. Like,
okay.
basically, while you're training in this club, you're increasing your... No, fuck it. I don't care. So it has to be not while. Because you've been training in this club and we're kind of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wiming of, like, I know that we showed 1 day, but it's going to be a bit more than that. You get a +1 bonus to your athletics.
Circumstance.
+0 to +1. Let's go.
Because it's for the first time, Noodle Hideaki is actually, working out.
Work out just your brain.
Circumstance bonus probably, question mark? Just
Yes, that's what I
because
was
you
wondering.
can't have 2 of the same type of bonus in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
I want you to be able to get whatever item bonuses you want, so this is definitely a circumstance bonus.
Okay.
Tal, how's it going?
Oh, just watching my friends be cool.
You
But
got
you're
this.
so cool too.
We'll see if the dice thinks so. What's the problem?
You got
That
this.
is the problem. But you got a new hero point, so you got this.
I have exactly one, so we'll see. We'll see what it does.
It's okay, you can only use one of these.
So I think Tal is really trying to focus on what Ark was saying the first day of finding a fighting style that fits with basically finding something that fits with what you're already good at.
Yeah.
And really trying to focus on, utilizing the things that she has, which is their claws and their speed and their dexterity and all of that sort of stuff to try, not necessarily to deal a lot of damage, but to get in and get out.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you're trying to be acrobatic
One would say
in
so.
your fighting style.
One would say so.
Let's get a nice acrobatics check, and Ark
Go
can
for
kindly
it.
aid this as well.
Okay.
Oh, nope.
This is why we have
I knew
hero
the
points.
nats. It's better. This is why we
Nope.
have hero points.
I rolled a 1, by the way, for anybody
Yep.
who's
Yeah.
interested of knowing.
Yep.
14.
Yep.
Got it.
I'm going to hero point my 8 as well. That's my
Okay.
last hero point. Nat 20.
That's 20.
What the fuck?
Let's go!
What god did you sell your soul to, Waffles?
Dude,
We'll
what
roll
the
20
fuck?
Can I
die.
just have
Danny.
Ark 2's second nat 20?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
God.
I really
yes.
Can I
want
just
you
have
to.
that? Can I just have
Second
that?
hero point,
do-
nat 20.
Oh my god.
Yeah, wow. I will.
Wow.
Jeez.
So instead of a +2 for a successful aid, we're gonna get you a +4.
Yeah, that's a
Heck
crit
yeah.
success aid for sure. Period. Like,
So that makes it a
18.
18.
y'all.
Cool.
DC 19. Oh, just kidding.
Right? Right, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's a success.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes, we love that for
It's
you.
one successful aid away from a crit success.
Ugh.
So-
Wait, no, it's not. No, never mind. It's not. I'm sorry. My brain. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. Okay, it's a success. That makes it easier.
Well,
That's good.
hear me out.
Uh-oh.
We trained so many days.
Y'all did trade extra days.
There should be at least one more roll chance. You can say no. I'm just fine.
Well, I have a
I
question.
mean,
This acrobatics was a natural 6.
Y'all.
So, would you be willing to roll again if you knew the same points as hero points apply, meaning you have to take this next roll no matter what?
Sure. I don't have any other hero points, period, anyway, to justify trying to re-roll it again.
Well, so technically you can only use like one,
Yeah.
regardless for a roll.
Because
But,
it's
like,
still the- 'cause it's still the same check,
Yeah, I won't be able to get this 14
But
plus 4.
saying like if you rolled a nat 1
Yeah.
again, you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean,
Wanna
that's
do it?
fine. It's fate, right?
yeah.
Let's
oh,
go!
ooh,
Let's
ooh,
go!
Fighting
Let's
words.
go!
Let's go.
I think
That's
it's gonna
the right
be
answer!
it's gonna be a natural 17. Oh,
21, baby!
let's go.
Oh, let's go!
25 with the aid.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yep.
Christ.
Yep.
It's
yep,
fate,
There it
yep,
is.
baby.
My friends are so
So-
cool.
DC was 15.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Great. I love having 10 over.
Yeah, isn't it
That's
great?
a great.
Isn't
Isn't fate cool? 25 is
plus
what I
4,
needed.
25. You needed a 21 for a crit success. Wow.
Let's
okay.
go.
So, I just like. Y'all lucky. I'm nice.
Yes.
Thanks, GM
Back to you.
Badass.
So, dearest Tell,
Yes.
Yes.
as you practice your clawed attacks with your dexterous nature, you pick up something that is rather natural to you. You're a catfolk with claws. It's not learning a new weapon, it's something you've had your whole life. So, for your success, you will gain the clawed catfolk heritage in addition to your heritage. Clawed catfolk is... Your family has particularly long, sharp claws capable of delivering bleeding wounds with a wicked swipe. You gain a claw unarmed attack that deals 1d6 slashing damage. Claws are in the brawling group and have the agile, finesse, and unarmed traits, meaning you are able to use your dexterity with these as well. But it's not 1d4, it's 1d6 now for damage. Now for that crit success, though, I'm going to change something about the Clawed Catfolk heritage, which is that they're not in the brawling group. They're in the knife group. And so with that, your crit success gives you your crit specialization on the knife group, which means that you now give persistent bleed damage with these as well. When
Great.
you crit.
Yeah.
Yup. Great. I'm not gonna regret this at all.
We're not
Those-
dying anymore.
We
Those
might
are
die a
always-
little less.
Yeah,
You ain't dying no more.
the stuff like claws and stuff are why I love like Pathfinder and like their ancestries and stuff, because I just am at like if someone takes all your weapons and like ties you up or something, now you have slashing damage, which is in the rules of Pathfinder to cut a rope. Like you can't do that with
Sure.
your bare
Yeah.
hands, but now you get like,
Yeah.
like I got claws. Let's go.
I got claws.
Okay, close. Amazing. Perfect. Okay.
I'll get the specifics of it after.
Yeah, it's cool. I could. It's in the heritages. So with that, each of you have completed a week of training, and I want you to recognize that this has been like throughout the week of this starting club activity. But I want to quickly check in with Hideaki, because this is, you woke up hella early the first time around. And then soon throughout, you know, as the week continued, you did continue to attend. But I would like to take a peek inside, and especially that first time. Was it what you expected?
Kinda, yeah. He's it's especially after the remember it's a tree. He was sort of like I don't want to say like testing his like own like pain tolerance, but like it's he got used to it a little bit. And like we were talking about masochism earlier, right? But like that sometimes like getting your hands dirty is necessary, and you can't outthink every situation. And so, which is what he would want to do typically. He's he's already a pretty prideful guy already. So yeah, but he's tired as fuck. This sucks.
Yeah. And you do like after that session, which is exhausting and tiring.
Absolutely.
You all head to the freshly opened dining hall. And Hideaki, this is probably one of the first times where you're actually there, like, crack of dawn when they actually open. And yes, you're exhausted. But you know that, like, rush of adrenaline that you get for doing something anyways? And you get fresh, hot food from a freshly open kitchen. And the dining hall is a little quieter than it normally is. And it's like people, as you all go and eat and eat together at a table with you, Okoro, Essie, Ark, Tal, there is a new dynamic, a job well done dynamic. And you're, for once, the person that's there in the dining hall as the late folks start waking up and coming in, and you watch them with their bleary eyes and such, and you are sitting from a different perspective for once.
Morning.
And there's Essie and Okoro like ribbing each other and cracking jokes, and there is a certain satisfaction that kind of settles on you.
Definitely. Yeah,
You hear
it's even better than the tree stuff, because that's what he felt when they left too. He was feeling really proud of that.
Overnoza's voice enters just your head. Seems like you're getting more active, more on your game. Doing good. Getting a taste of success. Kind of like a trailing question mark at the end.
It's gonna hurt a lot later, isn't it?
Yes, but if it makes it any better, we both feel the same thing, so
Yeah.
it'll hurt to both of us. You're not alone, rather. That's a better way to say it.
That's the irony of it. I used to look at it as I don't know if it's fair to say a weakness, but as something I had to try and avoid. No, I don't really do that anymore.
What, the pain?
Yeah.
Our connection. Sure, it means 2 hits get taken out of you as one person. It can be seen as a weakness. But I think if we are smart about it, if we take the time to really master the battlefield, the way I do think Ark has a talent for, if we learn that skill, I think we'll be quite stronger.
Yeah. In the meantime, we're building up our resilience.
It's true. And I do like actually seeing the sun rise again. I missed that.
Did you?
Kind of like gets him, like you feel this sort of like in the connection, like taken aback that like he actually like said that and did mean it. Yes, well, we take what we can get.
Next time, well, not next time, but sometime in the future, you'll be able to feel it too.
In a way, I feel it with you, so it'll be all right. And you can tell it's an absolute, like, non-committal, like, dismissal of your concern.
So, day ending in Y. He just kind of smiles and takes it all in. Feels good.
And in particular, like at the table as everybody's eating and stuff, and you're able to find, as you kind of turn away from the conversation with Overnoza, you're able to find a neutral but interesting like conversation topics of like, oh, like I like with Tal, like you're able to talk about the club, like you're able to talk about like, oh, you seem to be like getting good with your claws. I think it's like a fighting style that suits you. Like you're just able to find a neutral topic of conversation that isn't too awkward between you.
Yeah.
And perhaps even that is another level of comfort.
It's building the base of the house.
Exactly.
He is keenly fucking aware.
Yep. And with that, we'll zoom out from the breakfast table as Arafe joins in a little later than not with the late crowd, still nice and early in the morning, but nonetheless joining the breakfast table.
I bring cake that I got the day before with Teacher Ott.
Yes. And we zoom out as our crew mingles with some of the other. Sorry, I shouldn't say our crew. Our future mingles with. I
don't know if that name's. I don't know if that name's.
I'm not a fan.
You agreed to it, Maria. You fucking agreed to it.
I don't know if it's gonna. Sit,
I tried saying it super seriously too. I was like, I'm gonna make this cool.
I loved it. Anyway.
But our crew mingles with some of the other students, and as Okoro runs off to class, Abram joins in, and the table is kind of this like coming and going of individuals, which is in and of itself kind of nice of the Spire dormitory, as y'all sort of feeling a rapport amongst yourselves over the past couple weeks and months of the school. You've found a rhythm of doing your tasks, your perquisite tasks, interacting and intermingling with your fellow students, as well as getting closer to your little group, your initiates, your class of initiates. And it's nice.
You on a field trip?
And you do have plans for a little bit of shopping.
I wrote notes for shopping.
Shopping.
And as the rest of the students leave to go to their classes and the four of you are left, you turn your attentions to planning what indeed you need to get in the town boot to make the sprout. What do we call it? The
Sprout House.
Sprout House.
That's the good
Sprout
name.
House.
That's the only
The
good
coolest
name we
call.
have. That's the
And
only
ready
good
for
name
it.
that was.
To remind you
the
that
only
without the
good
future,
name.
we would not have the Sprout House.
The only good name that was suggested today.
And
Do not agree.
getting the Sprout House ready for its grand opening as the Cool Kids Clubhouse. So, with that, we will end tonight's session and know that at the beginning of next session, we will not forget to roll our study checks.